Then the old doctor brushed his hand and turned away. Come out at night? Do you need to be so secretive? However, as soon as she entered the college, she met such a pharmacist and reached this agreement, which saved her a lot of trouble. Just as Yunwoo was about to walk towards the gate of the college, a few footsteps came from behind. When she looked back, she almost laughed. See, that 5-star space 3 people, the clothes are ragged, the hair is disorderly, feel like is just from which hill to climb out of appearance, abnormal embarrassed. However, the 3 people came from the woods in a hurry. When they saw the cloud dance, their eyes were all angry, and their fists creaked. But at this time, the 3 did not dare to be close to Yunwoo. Even if they were angry and gnashing their teeth, they all kept a distance from her. As if, she is a god of pestilence. After entering the college, I remember to report to the academic affairs office for the first time. The elder is still waiting for you. With a cold and angry voice, Wu Xingyu led the 2 students to the inner college gate. If you let others see this image, it would be a shame. Cloud Dance looked at them and couldn't help but smile. Compared with their hurry, she walked slowly towards the inner college. In the Dantian area, however, the cultivation mode has already been opened automatically. In such a place with abundant aura, the cultivation can be twice as effective as in other places. It's just, strangely enough. When I stepped into the inner college, the aura of heaven and earth, which was filled in the air, disappeared. Completely disappeared. The aura outside the gate of the college is so full that it's frightening. Inside the college, I didn't feel any aura. It seems that it's hard to say. What's going on? Cloud Dance stands at the gate of the college, can't help frowning at the difference between the inside and outside of the door. Are you the freshman who will make up for it after today? At this time, a bright voice suddenly came. Following the voice, I saw a young man in a dark yellow inner college uniform standing on the wall of the college door. At this time, he was looking at the clouds. But when looking at the boy, Cloud Dance slightly picked eyebrows, Zhengleng for a while. Because, he looks. Big eyes, long eyelashes, extremely white skin, pink lips, height looks like her. Very pink and lovely. Moreover, under the cover of the morning, the body is still covered with a layer of golden light, as if it were a doll. Is this really a teenager? Not a girl. If you didn't just hear his voice, Yunwoo would have thought that the teenager was a little girl with a doll. I'm talking to you, you're dumb. Just when Yunwoo looked at him, the young man's eyes flashed a look of disgust and impatience, and his original bright voice was suddenly gloomy. It seems that it is uncomfortable for her to look at his sight. Cloud Dance also drew back the line of sight from him, the hook lip indifferently answered a sentence, that you are blind. What? You scold me? The boy's face sank. Yunwoo glanced at him again with a smile and pointed to his clothes. If you are not blind, why ask me if I am a freshman when you see my clothes? There are obvious differences in the colors of the school uniforms of the outer college and the inner college. Although she doesn't really care, she doesn't like to suffer losses. Even verbally. After taking his eyes away from the boy, Yunwoo swept around the college. The scenery of the college was good, but the whole college was silent. Did everyone in the college go to the morning class? Cloud Dance swept a circle, also lift step, prepared to go inside to see where is Educational Administration building. And the boy who had been watching the Cloud Dance seemed to have looked at her for a long time. Seeing that she didn't stare at him all the time as others did, and showed that kind of salivating disgusting attitude towards him, her just gloomy face seemed to be better. Are you looking for the Educational Administration building? Come with me. I'll take you. He has recovered his bright voice and said to Yunwoo. Then, he came forward, grabbed a sleeve of Yunwoo, and pulled her towards the path of the wall. The cloud danced for a moment. When the reaction came over, I couldn't help looking down at her. I grabbed her white hand and frowned at the boy who was pulling her forward. Is there something wrong with this teenager's head? Just now also a pair of disgust to her intolerant appearance, this twinkling of an eye, pull her to lead the way. The Academic Affairs Office of NEI College is located in a remote mountain. It's very difficult for freshmen to find it when they have just entered the college. Walking in front of the youth, the head did not return to say. But after a while, Yunwoo's face changed slightly. Because, she then found that the young man walking in front of her, the feet did not touch the ground, and drift forward. It's not power, it's nature, it's very natural. So it feels like a ghost? In the 21st century, in the era of scientific civilization, the theory of ghosts is nonsense. But the fact that her soul can cross the mainland shows that there are ghosts in this world. What's more, there are a lot of strange things in this strange world. Although I know it in my heart, seeing it with my own eyes is another matter. This young man, should not be, who are you? Cloud Dance secretly swallowed mouth saliva, low voice asked who? My name is Lian Ah Huan, a third-year student in inner college. The voice of the youth came. Pity Ah Huan. Third grader. So he's human. But I don't know why, in the face of him, Yunwoo always feels strange. There's a strange feeling. Girl, his breath is not right. Be careful with him. In my mind, Bai Lao's voice came. However, this is chaos, but at the same time, there is the deep voice of Hyo. He is harmless. Try to get along with him and gain his trust. He will only be good for you in the future. The two voices sounded almost at the same time. This makes Wen Yan's Cloud Dance stunned. This has never happened. Since Bai Lao untied the seal and made a contract with her, the Black Pride of Chaos Hall hardly made a sound. In this case, both of them speak at the same time, but the meaning is opposite. What's going on? Is there something in your body? At this time, the young man in front of him suddenly stopped. Turned to head, that pair of big eyes stare at Cloud Dance to look directly. At this time, Yunwoo could see clearly that his eyes were so pure. Is it really human? How can a human have such pure eyes? Looking at the young man's eyes, Yunwoo was really stunned, as if there was a half-ring reaction. Seeing her staring at him again, the boy's face sank again and frowned. What are you looking at? His voice was bright and angry. At this moment, Yunwoo found that his eyes would change with his mood. Like now angry, that pair of pure eyes gradually rose a trace of dark red color. Even if it's human, it's definitely not ordinary people. Yunwoo raised his mouth slightly, looked at him and said with a smile, you don't seem to like people watching you very much. But you are standing in front of me, and my line of sight is you. You are not forced to see. The young man looked at her with deep eyes. He seemed to think about it for a while. He thought it was reasonable and then went on. But he continued to ask. You haven't answered my question. Is there something in your body? For this question, he seems to insist on the answer. Yunwoo kept silent. Well, why don't you answer my question? After walking for a long time, I didn't hear the answer from the Cloud Dance behind. The boy frowned and turned his head. Yunwoo then said with a faint smile, who said that if you ask a question, I must answer it. But this is the most basic courtesy. Even if you don't answer, you should let me know. Are you polite, too? These words let the youth discontent immediately. Yunwoo raised her eyebrows and said, if you are polite, the most basic thing is not to ask my name first, not to call someone, hello, as soon as you open your mouth. What's your name? Although the young man was dissatisfied, he really asked. My name is Yunwoo. I answered your question. Is it my turn to ask you a question? What's the problem? And your parents? Cloud Dance is a casual problem. And smell speech, the youth pondered for a while, just frown away, have no. And where were you born? Cloud Dance continues to ask. The young man turned his head and glanced at her. You are the second question. Ask me another question, I'll answer you, and you'll answer me again. That's fair. Cloud Dance continued to cajole. The youth seemed to ponder for a while, then nodded. Then you answer me, I just asked you, is there something in your body? As for the question he asked for the third time, Yunwoo said it was strange. However, he opened his mouth and said, I have nothing in my body but internal organs. Can't your eyes see it? I've seen it, but I can't see through your head, but I seem to hear a sound. There must be something hidden in your head. The young man squinted at the cloud dance and said. Cloud Dance's heart but clattered. She was also tentative, and wanted to see if the teenager was as she had guessed. Indeed, he is pure and very naive, but he did not expect that not only his eyes can see through the human body, but also can hear the voice in her mind. Shit! What kind of monster is he? However, Yunwoo quickly converged and said with a smile, I have answered your question. Is it your turn to answer my question? You are lying. I refuse to answer your question. The speed of the youth's advance has been accelerated by a few points. Cloud Dance see this, can't help but frown. This guy, though naive, is not stupid at all. He is not easy to deceive. But all of a sudden, she had a flash of inspiration. The hand he was holding on to his sleeve was his white hand. The delicate touch, can't help but let Cloud Dance learn for a while, almost want to burst foul language, that slippery tender touch, really a man? Even if it was her skin didn't feel like that. However, just at the moment when the boy's startled reaction came over, a soil element surged up from her body and immediately shrouded him. At that moment, his drifting body was like a heavy object, and his feet stood on the ground. This change changed the boy's face. But this is, Cloud Dance suddenly says to him. As punishment for lying, I'll tell you a secret. How about it? Young this sink eyes, in a hearing, the fundus of the eyes a little bit over a trace of curiosity, that would like to resist the action also stopped. Slightly looked up to the Cloud Dance, what secret? Cloud Dance said but then stopped, eyes like a thief swept around, just mysteriously gathered up, I really have something, but, if I have something found by others, I will certainly be missed by others, so you have to help me keep a secret. Hearing the words, the young man's eyes suddenly brightened. What is that? Take it out and I'll keep it a secret for you. Cloud Dance looked at his reaction, can't help but determine what he thought. This young man seems to be too simple. Is it really human? Looking at the boy, Cloud Dance suddenly flashed a smile. But the action was furtive, which made the atmosphere mysterious. After the young man was very curious, he thought about it. Just after that red flash, a 2-year-old baby appeared in her arms. In addition, there is a small red flower, and a small red snake, all wrapped around the head of the little Stinky. The bald head was set off by the red flower and the circling red snake, not to mention how strange. But it doesn't hinder the cute appearance of the little Stink at all. It seemed that he was suddenly awakened. After rubbing the sleeping big eyes, he looked up at the Cloud Dance but its 2 words are just a drop. Whoosh! In the twinkling of an eye, it was directly transferred to another person's arms. The young man's eyes were wide and curious, and he looked at the little odor in his hands. His pure eyes seemed to be unable to hide the excited streamer. How can it look like a man or a bird? What is it? What's its name? Is it your secret? It's like I can't stop. But at this time, the little Stink was finally relieved. That pair of big cute eyes staring at the young man, suddenly ferocious anger, small claws brush, sharp claws come out, straight wave the young man away. Obviously, before he was in a coma, his memory remained in the situation of the Warring States Division. The boy wanted to pinch his fat face. But, brush. The sharp claw splits down horizontally. It's full of power. Young people also subconsciously let go. Yunwoo took the opportunity to catch it and brought back the little Stink. Little Stink, calm down. Cloud Dance said softly. Just out of control like a little Stink, also slowly began to recover. But at this time, the red ling and the little red snake on the head of the little Stink just woke up and moved. However, there was not much movement. How fierce. The boy looked at the little stink and frowned. Yunwoo said with a smile, "It's my secret. It's called Xiaoqiu. It's a kind of mixed blood warcraft. At the same time, it's also my contract beast." Half-blood? Contract beast? Listening to the words of Cloud Dance, the young man's pure eyes, staring at the little stink, seemed to consume the meaning of her words. "It's half a ring. Are you the summoner?" The youth just raises mouth to see to Cloud Dance, some serious like ask away. Cloud Dance looked at him, inexplicably hook lip smile, "Yes." And her answer, let the young eyebrow inexplicably wrinkled, staring at the Cloud Dance in the eyes, also seems to flash inexplicable undercurrent. "My secret has been told to you, you can promise to keep it secret for me, so you should keep your promise." Finish saying, Cloud Dance also not in much, embrace small stink, cross his own to walk toward that path. Watching her figure, the boy pondered for a moment and asked, "You don't ask me any questions?" "Don't ask. I already know what I should know." "It's nice to meet you, Ah Huan." Cloud Dance head also didn't return of waved a hand, so left. Pity Ah Huan, who stayed in the same place, watched her figure disappear all the time, then looked down at her feet. He still has that kind of gravity in his body, so that he can clearly feel the touch of down-to-earth. Is this the feeling of human feet stepping on the ground? In fact, he's not used to it. He feels like he's very heavy. But what about ordinary badges? How could it be an ordinary badge? The colleges that can enter the inner college are all talented students selected from the top of the outer college. But how could the badge she wore be the common badge of the freshman in the foreign college? Are you really a student who has been selected into the inner college? The tutor frowned and asked again. For his question and expression, Yunwoo naturally understood what it meant. But she nodded politely, "Yes. Mr. Wu Xingyu, let me come to the Academic Affairs building to report to the elder." "Excuse me, where is the report room?" 5 stars. Hearing Wu Xingyu's name, the tutor's puzzled eyes were slightly restrained. The freshman did hear that the elder sent Wuk Xinjiu, one of the senior students, to Xiaowai College to meet them. It's just, how can this be connected with a girl wearing a common badge? What's more, it seems that her clothes are new students. Elder 5 is on the 6th floor. Go to the 6th floor and report to him. However, before you go to the 6th floor, you should go to the 4th floor and take the test results with you. The tutor looked at the Cloud and said. 5 elders. Cloud Dance in hear that address, eyebrow front suddenly a pick. 5. Is it a member of the 5th generation family? Thank you, tutor. Yunwoo politely said thanks to the tutor, and then walked towards the revolving staircase hanging in the middle. The tutor watched her go upstairs, frowning all the time. What are you looking at? Is that the student who just entered the inner hospital today? It's very young. Another passing tutor, looking at the frowning and stupefied tutor, asked. She's a newcomer, but she's wearing an ordinary badge, or a freshman who just entered the outer courtyard. No, it should not be possible. How can a freshman run for admission to the inner college? Yunwoo heard the 2 tutors' doubts and discussions, but she didn't care much. Ordinary badge. Freshman. That's all true. But sometimes, what we see in front of our eyes is not real, which is often overlooked by the world. Spiral stairs, step by step up, as if there is no end. Fortunately, there are signs on every floor. When Yunwoo came to the 4th floor, he followed the sign, walked slowly into the dark passage, and walked inside. It's time for practice class. How can you? Why, are you from a foreign college? Just as Yunwoo was about to go in, an old voice came from behind. Look around. It was an old man with a white beard, about 70 or 80 years old. But listen to his voice, but full of zhongqi, walk steady and polite. If he is not a mentor, he should also be an elder. Seeing the old man coming, Yunwoo politely called out, "Hello." When the old man came to see Yunwoo's school uniform and badge, an undercurrent flashed through his eyes. Are you the freshman who just entered the college and participated in the college quota competition? The old man's voice, with a little interest to ask. Cloud Dance nods, yes. Seeing her pretty good appearance, the old man reached out and touched the white beard, then asked again, come to test. Come on, I'll take you to the test room. Then the old man passed her and went to the front passage. Seeing this, Yunwoo naturally followed up slowly. The old man is introverted and almost can't feel any fluctuation of power. It seems that his strength is even better than that of the pharmacist. Are all the old men in the college so powerful? So if she's looking for that map, isn't it a hassle? Through the passage, came to a hall. The room is very spacious, but, as below, there are many rooms around the hall. Maybe, it's time for the inner college to practice, so there is no one in the whole hall. The old man took Yunwoo to choose a room and went in. What's your name, little girl? After entering the room, the old man went to the table next to the room and asked. Cloud Dance. Cloud Dance answers, however, the line of sight swept room all around however. More than 10 square meters of space. Besides the 5 stones on the table, there was a strange mirror in the room. Why strange? The mirror is facing the door, but people come in. It's strange that people can't be found in the mirror. Just as Yunwoo was staring at the mirror, the old man seemed to notice her puzzled eyes, with a smile on her face. Wait a minute, you just have to stand in front of that. Don't worry. Cloud Dance smell speech, draw back the vision of looking at that old man. Up to now, I still don't know how to respect you. The old man said with a smile, people call me 5 elders. Is he the 5 elders? Is that a member of the 5th generation family or not? When he finished speaking, the 5 elders turned and left. The Cloud Dance in the room didn't say anything. But as soon as the 5 elders left, Yunwoo moved almost instantaneously and came to the strange mirror again. I saw, in the purplish red light, a serious look. You will find that there is a small group of white flames, flashing in the purplish red light. Cold goo fire. 3 words, very cold spit out from the cloud. In her body, there is still a small cold goo fire. Why didn't she find out? However, Yunwoo's face was cold. Heart read a move, the hands of the blue ring flash, blue flash of the moment, Blue Yu figure immediately appeared in her side. At the moment when Lan Yu appeared, the temperature in the air dropped rapidly, and the space was directly covered by a layer of ice. Master! Lan Yu, help me take out the cold poison fire in my body. Cloud Dance pointed to that purple-red light inside the white flame, low cold way. She didn't feel the cold and poisonous fire. She didn't feel any threat. However, she understood that it was the ink white that was injected into her body to locate her position. No wonder he was so loud at that time that he said she couldn't escape from him. No wonder at the beginning, as soon as she and Long Qingxia came out of Nanshan, the ink white came after her. He has been using Lenguohuo to locate her. Blue Yu smell speech, that pair of blue eyes swept a circle on Cloud Dance body, just frown way. It's injected into the most fragile bone marrow behind you, and can't be taken out. When you listen to the Cloud Dance, your eyes are cold. In the bone marrow? However, I can suck it out, but that will suck out part of your bone marrow blood, cause severe pain and weakness for a while. Blue Yu stares at Cloud Dance to say. Smell speech, Cloud Dance but don't have the slightest hesitation. Suck. Hurry up. After hearing this, Lan Yu didn't slow down, so she pasted the position of Yunwoo's back ribs on her palm. The sting came. Cold ice cold idea, along his palm straight into the Cloud Dance body. Then, there was a sharp pain of ice penetrating into the bone, which suddenly attacked the nerves of Yunwoo's whole body. Pain. Severe pain, but Cloud Dance is just dead bite root of teeth, not even a dull hum. The process of Lan Yu's sucking out the cold goo fire is a little slow. The pain continued. The cold sweat gradually flows down from Yunwoo's forehead, breathing heavily, and his face is really pale. But Yunwoo still didn't hum a sound. Just like that, his eyes were staring at the mirror, watching the cold poisonous fire being gradually pulled out of the purplish-red light by a light blue light. That cold goo fire has been in her body for a period of time, was forced to suck out, brought out a lot of bone marrow blood. As the blood of the bone marrow was drawn out, it was obvious that the purplish-red light in the mirror began to fade. When Lan Yu finally sucked out the cold goo fire, Yunwoo's whole body seemed to be drained of strength in an instant. A long breath, a soft foot. If it wasn't for Lan Yu to help her in time, I'm afraid she would fall on the ground. That's the cold goo fire. Cloud Dance slants ahead, looking at Blue Yu, another palm inside of a small regiment blood-red flame. Lan Yu nodded, yes, the red one is your bone marrow blood, which has been gradually fused. Gradually integrated? What do you mean? Cloud Dance frowned. If the cold goo fire is completely fused with all your bone marrow and blood, you can't even suck it out. At that time, if you want to pull it out, you can only pull your rib out. Lan Yu said. However, when Yan's face suddenly sank. Damn it. If she didn't test this talent today, would she never find it? And the final result is that her body is always planted with a locator. The old man is coming back soon. Just then, Lan Yu suddenly looks at the door. You go back to space for a while, and I'll let you out later. The cloud dances towards the blue road. Although contract animals are usually brought into the space by their owners, Yunwoo can't feel it. Their emptiness and boredom in the space lead them to sleep. She had no intention of contracting them. However, even if she contracted them, she needed to treat them well. Being put in such a space of income was like being imprisoned, which was really not what she wanted. So, Yunwoo thought, when the situation here is dealt with, it will release them all. Now in this college, it's not the time to let others know that they exist. 5 elders with 2 sets of college uniforms quickly return, time is just good. Just as soon as I opened the door, the cold air on my face made the elder 5 frown. The sharp eye light immediately swept toward the room all around. But see, the room in addition to that stand in front of the table cloud dance, and nothing different. It seems that the air in this room is much colder than it was just now. What happened just now? The 5 elders' eyes flashed a doubt. However, he found nothing after sweeping the room, so the 5 elders took back their mind and went to Yunwoo. Yunwoo girl, here are 2 sets of inner college uniforms. They are about your size. You can change them here first. I'll go out and wait for you. 5 elders said, put the school uniform on the table. Thank you, Elder 5. Cloud Dance slightly raised thanks. However, when the 5 elders saw her pale face, their doubts deepened a little. But in the end, the 5 elders didn't say anything, so they turned out of the room. After Yunwoo put on her clothes and arranged them, she secretly brought out the aura in the Hall of Chaos, added a little vitality, and then walked out of the room. Outside the hall, the 5 elders are talking with a tutor. When he saw the cloud dance coming out, he brushed his hand to let the tutor go to work and looked at the coming cloud dance with a smile. Yes, the school uniform fits well. By the way, this is the badge of the first-year students in the inner college. The token of the accumulated points is attached to the chest and the token is attached to the waist. Remember, the inner college needs to rely on the token to survive, so don't lose the token. With that, the 5 elders handed the badge and a black token to Yunwoo. After hearing this, Yunwoo was surprised. Is the token really so important? Lost, not even able to survive? After taking the token and badge from the 5 elders, Yunwoo couldn't help looking at the token. In fact, it's a brand made of black iron. Except for the word 1, there is no totem on it. There is nothing special about it. However, Yunwoo also remembered that not long ago, when he entered the pharmacist elder's medicine garden, the 5-star universe also took out such a similar token in his hand. Is the token used to open the array? There are still many arrays in this college, aren't they? Looking at the token in hand, Yunwoo guessed countless possibilities. However, it was not long before she found out what the real use of the token was for. Let's go. I've asked the tutor to arrange the dormitory for you. After class, just go to the dormitory building and ask. Now I'll take you to the class first. When the 5 elders had finished speaking, they led them and went. Cloud danced slowly over God, put away the badge and token, also followed. After walking out of the educational administration building, I went straight along a main road. Then turn left, turn right. As for the number of turns, Yunwoo felt a little confused. Even if this inner college is located at such a high place, it can be isolated by array. Now the road inside the college is still 7 turns and 8 turns. Inexplicably give Cloud Dance a kind of, this inner college seems to be in defense of something, inside 3, inside 3. Let alone freshmen, it is estimated that an old student who has not lived in this college for a year and a half will not be able to get around. It's no wonder that Lien Ah Huan, who just met at the gate of the college, would say that she couldn't find the educational administration building. After walking about half a column of incense, I finally came to a row of buildings in a lawn garden. And still, it's similar to the educational administration building. Behind the classroom building is the steep cliff. The students of inner college are divided into 6 levels, from grade 1 to grade 6, and each grade has 1 floor. The 5 elders introduced and took Yunwoo into the classroom building. You are a freshman who has just entered the inner college, so you are on the 1st floor. Because the class size is limited, the only one with vacant seats is at the end of the class, that is, class 10. Under the introduction of the 5 elders, Yunwoo swept around when she entered the building. Eye-catching is still that spacious hall, with a spacious rotating stairs. After the stairs, is a pass often on both sides of the channel. Cloud Dance went with 5 elder steps, through the channel, finally stopped at the end of the channel after a class door. At this time, the class became very quiet because of the arrival of the 5 elders. Almost everyone's vision are swept in the door position. On the stage of the class tutor, there was a young woman in her early 30s. When she saw the arrival of the 5 elders, she bowed respectfully. Elder 5, what can I do for you? This girl, called Yunwoo, came to class 10 today to give birth. I brought her to you, and you can arrange it. When the 5 elders said this, they pointed to the Cloud Dance behind them. Smell speech, that female tutor's line of sight also looked to Cloud Dance. When I saw Cloud Dance's pale face and weak breath, I obviously frowned. However, how dare those who were sent by the 5 elders themselves say anything? He nodded respectfully and said, Don't worry, Elder 5. I will arrange it properly. 5 elder this just satisfaction nod. He turned to Yunwoo and said, Yunwoo girl, you should have a good class first. If you don't know anything, you can ask your tutor and classmates. Thank you, Elder 5. Yunwoo smiles and nods. Then you go to class. 5 elders said, very kind of hand patted Cloud Dance's shoulder, as if it was just a very casual action. However, the power of detection is in his action of clapping his shoulder, to detect the body of Cloud Dance. When I felt that there was no expected strong breath in her body, on the contrary, it was the excessive weakness, a trace of doubt passed through her eyes. This girl, how can she be so weak? However, this kind of behavior of detecting quietly, the 5 elders also quickly converged back. As if nothing had happened, he turned and left. Yunwoo doesn't know the detection he just made, but she doesn't have to cover it up at this time. The blood from the bone marrow was drawn out, and her body was in a weak state for the time being. Therefore, the results of his exploration can be imagined. Seeing that the 5 elders had left, the female tutor would smile at Yunwoo and say, Your name is Yunwoo, right? Come on in, you'll be in the 3rd seat below my right row. Cloud Dance is also polite, seemingly, nodded respectfully to the female tutor, and then walked along the position that the tutor pointed to. The 3rd row, the 3rd seat, is a very front seat. However, this class is not very big, plus her, just 15 people. Cloud Dance just walked to that seat to sit down, behind came a low voice. You were led in by the oldest 5 elders in the college. Did you come in through the back door? Back door. Cloud dances to pick eyebrow, Tiny turn head to the person behind to see one eye. It was a young man of 18 or 19 years old. He was pretty, but he looked at Yunwoo with a suspicious look. For that kind of eyes, Cloud Dance is too familiar. Because, since she stepped into the King Samurai Academy, that kind of eyes seemed to become a sign of her existence. Glancing at him, Yunwoo took back her sight. And her reaction is to let that young man frown, but the bottom of my heart is automatically determined, she is through the back door. One face is morbid, breath is weak, this kind of person can enter inside college, estimate don't know to spend how many thoughts just come in. Around the students, is also the same kind of look at the cloud, whispered in private. It's not a drag to enter our class even though we are so weak. That's to say, our class was at the bottom of the list, but now it's such a waste, with the intention of making our class have no place to turn over in front of other classes. Our class was beaten down by other classes every time because we didn't care about that useless waste. This time, with such a sick and weak person going backstage, when will our class 10 turn over? Murmur in the dark, gradually spread throughout the class. Well, classmate, it's not the time for us to mumble and chat. Come on, let's continue with the topic we just finished. With the strength of the female tutor, how can we not hear the low voice in the classroom? However, the cultivation of tutors is much deeper than that of students. In particular, in such a rigorous and difficult internal college, in some cases, one should turn a blind eye. As for Cloud Dance, it is natural to ignore this situation directly. A morning course. Cloud Dance is also understood, this first year's general course. It's about the decomposition of force, the understanding of tactics, arrays, and even geography. There is no textbook, just a simple story. It is estimated that this kind of course is simpler than modern universities. In fact, those are of little use to Yunwoo, because it's better to go directly to actual combat than to break down the tactics and geography of force. However, the only thing that makes Yunwoo interested is that array. Although, this grade, for this array course, seems to be just the beginning of understanding. However, it is enough to arouse the interest of Cloud Dance. I don't know. Is there any book about array in the Kangwoo Pavilion? Thinking of Kangwoo Pavilion, Yunwoo can't help looking forward to the arrival of the evening. As long as she gets the sign from the pharmacist elder, she can go to Kangwoo Pavilion to have a look. By the way, in the evening, it's time for her to start looking for the map. Fix it. All of a sudden, a strange whistle sounded, and the course ended like this. Well, students, today's course is over. Cloud Dance student, you are a freshman. If you have any questions you don't understand, please ask other students or me. The female tutor looked at the Cloud Dance and said with a smile. Well, students, class is over. After that, the female tutor didn't stay much, so she turned and left. After the tutor left, the people in the class looked at Yunwoo and said nothing more, so they left in a hurry. You're not going. I'm not going to have lunch. Just then, a voice came from behind. Cloud Dance turned to see the young man behind him, speechless. The young man frowned at her again. However, she still got up from her seat and looked at her with her arms around her chest. I am the monitor of this class. My name is Ling Feng. Although, I really despise you, since you have entered our class 10, you are the person of our class 10. Hurry up, don't dawdle after class. For the sake of your freshmen, I'll take you to the canteen. Listen to his words, Cloud Dance can't help but eyebrow pick. What else are you looking at? Hurry up, don't delay the time, or we won't have dinner together. Look at Cloud Dance, turn to see to him, Ling Feng tone also can't bear. Listen to that Ling Feng not too impatient voice, Cloud Dance but the first time not too disgusted. because she seemed to think that the young man in front of her should have a straight temper. This kind of person, the conduct of life should be based on temperament, not too much thought. Don't you mean you don't like her? Since you don't like it, you can eat it yourself first. How can you show your monitor's kindness here? But just then, in a corner behind the class, suddenly came a lazy voice. Following the voice, I saw a figure stretching lazily and sitting up from the corner. He was a young man in his early 20s. He was quite ordinary. His hair was messy and his clothes were messy. He was completely slovenly. If you don't see that his clothes are the uniform of inner college, you will think he is a beggar from where. However, Yunwoo couldn't help looking at him more. The breath is weak. It seems that at most the 5 levels are up and down, and the bottom is not stable. It seems that I took some pills to improve my strength. To be clear, on the surface, a 5th level strength is not as good as a 3rd level strength. But it was because of his unique breath that attracted Yunwoo's attention. Unintentionally, are you sleeping in class again? I have warned you that even if you don't get enough sleep, you should not sleep in class. You are wasting your life in vain. As soon as Ling Feng saw the disordered man like a beggar, he immediately frowned and scolded like anger. No intention. Is he the loser in class 10 from the previous students? Well, don't talk about it again. I've heard your words 10 or 8 times, and I'm not interested in listening to them anymore. Okay, I'll go to dinner. Please continue to love your freshman. He was called the man who didn't care. He seemed to be afraid of him. When he got up, he walked towards the door. Seeing him like that, Ling Feng's face was not very good. However, at this time, a drag over the cloud, quickly toward the unintentional chase in the past. I'm the monitor. I'm talking to you. Can't you listen to me seriously? Ling Feng catch up with that unintentional, can't help but said in a deep voice. Inadvertently, he took out his ear, turned his head and turned his eyes lazily. Ling Feng still said lazily, Monitor, I'm not a freshman anymore. If you want to play your monitor's benevolence, please face the freshman you are holding in your hand. At this time, Ling Feng seems to remember, he casually pulled out of the cloud. You look so pale, are you okay? Ling Feng looks at Cloud Dance and frowns to ask away. Yunwoo took out his hand and looked at Ling Feng. It's okay. The monitor just needs to tell me where the canteen is. I'll go by myself. Ling Feng heard the speech, but shook his head. You are a freshman, no one can take it, let's go with us. Said, Ling Feng but reached out to seize the walk in front of the lazy unintentional, Handy also have caught the hand of Cloud Dance, quickly toward the classroom building gate. Out of the classroom building, you can see a lot of people walking towards the avenue on the left. However, Ling Feng is pulling Cloud Dance with that unintentional, from the right side of the path through. That have no intention to see this, seem to have no what revolt, let that Ling breeze pull him to go. Yunwoo was originally quite disgusted with other people touching her, but he was a little curious about where he was going to take her. But unexpectedly, Ling Feng knew how to go through the strange array, directly across the right range, one step ahead of other students came to the so-called canteen. This canteen is open air. A very spacious square, a row of tabletop placed a lot of food, a long line of food, all kinds of tastes. But the strange thing is that there is no sign of half a cook around. What's going on? Buffet? Yunwoo, take out your token quickly. Ling Feng looked at a lot of students have begun to come one after another, cannot help but hastily Chaoyun Dance said. Token? Cloud Dance didn't ask much and took out the token on his waist. Follow my steps, see how I walk, and you'll learn. Ling Feng quickly moved, and entered the square circle with a special set of steps. Is there any array for a meal? Although Yunwoo was a little depressed, he still followed his steps and entered the circle. This is an outdoor meal once a week. The college set it up to increase the students' practical reaction ability. Today's event is an entry urn array. If you enter the urn at the wrong pace, you will be trapped in the array for an hour. Wait a minute. When you take the food, remember to pick the last one, which is the food with the least points deducted. Ling Feng explained as briefly as possible. And the token, after you have selected the food, is put into the groove on the table. Ling Feng said, grabbed the side of the plate, toward his goal of lunch. What's the penalty? Cloud Dance looked at that already one step to take the meal. Ling Feng picked to pick eyebrow. The people behind have come. If you don't want to be trapped by those people, follow him. In the Cloud Dance behind the unintentional, suddenly at this time lazily said a word. Cloud Dance turned to see him. One eye, the undercurrent of the eye ground tiny twinkle. But in the end, I followed. However, when Yunwu came to the last position, what he saw was a plate of steamed bread. Put your token in the slot. Ling Feng, who is carrying her own food, has come to her to urge her. However, without waiting for Yunwu to move, the other hand took the first step. 12 o'clock in total, take the steamed bread, deduct 1 point, and the rest is 11. Just as the token was put into the groove, a mechanical sound came from the top of the head. When he didn't want to get the token back, he grabbed 2 steamed buns from the plate. Then, lazily across the Lingfeng and Yunwu, toward the outside. Ling Feng thought that Yunwu didn't understand, and more students crowded behind, so he took Yunwu's token and put it in. 10 o'clock in total, take the steamed bread, deduct 1 point and leave 9 points. It's still that voice. Cloud Dance seems to understand what the token is for. A meal card? I'm stunned. Let's go out first. Ling Feng grabbed 2 steamed buns and put them in Yunwu's plate. Then he grabbed her and walked out quickly. Why are you so nervous like a war after a meal? In fact, you can see it from the next look. I can only see that the whole school of 6 grades are crowded, the dense number of people, not 1,000 people, there are absolutely 800 or 900 people. Even though the circle is large enough, there are still many junior students who are directly hit by senior students. It takes an hour for the prisoner to be released, which means that the student who has been knocked into the urn does not have to have lunch. In the face of such a scene, junior students usually let senior students first. When it comes to the junior students, I'm afraid it will be very good to leave the steamed bread and vegetable residue. Therefore, this is why Ling Feng is so anxious to urge Yunwu to move faster. If it is slower, it is estimated that there will be no chance to pick up the meal first. See, if you want to eat in the future, especially on this day of the week, you must move faster, or you will be hungry all day. Already out of the battle, Ling Feng, who has a spacious view, points to the scene that is still in the fierce competition for food and talks to Yunwu. To be honest, seeing such a scene, Cloud Dance is really quite unexpected. I didn't expect that the inner college was in a competitive state even for eating. However, Ling Feng, a first-year student, still knows how to take the path first. It seems that it's not easy. Ling Feng at this time, but the piece of meat on his plate, directly with his hand to split into 3 parts. Then, one of them was thrown into the unintentional dinner plate and the other into the Cloud Dance plate. After that, they took half-steamed bread from the Cloud Dance plate and the unintentional plate. In addition, in the college, no matter what you use or eat, you need to rely on your own ability to fight for it. What you eat also needs to be exchanged. No one owes anyone. Ling Feng said, also grabbed his plate of steamed bread with meat clip, gnawed up. It seemed that he had been used to Ling Feng's behavior, and without saying anything, he grabbed the piece of meat and ate it with steamed bread. But Cloud Dance is a Leng. I couldn't help looking at the torn meat on the plate. The points to be deducted for meat and steamed bread are definitely different. He gave the meat and took half of the steamed bread. It seemed like a fair deal, but in fact, why not? I don't think my hands are dirty. Ling Feng sees Cloud Dance stare at that piece of meat, the opening of frown. Yunwu raises her eyes and looks at Lingfeng. After Lingfeng talks to himself for such a long time, Lingfeng looks ugly and angry. She holds her fist to death, but she doesn't say a word. See Ling Feng this facial expression reaction, Wang Fatty seems to be very satisfied. It seems that Monitor Ling is very satisfied. Well, since this is our old monitor's favorite seat, we won't impose ourselves. Let's go to the front. With ridicule, the fat man laughed like he was in a happy mood, turned around, stepped on the step of 28, and left in front of him. The two little brothers behind him were also laughing sarcastically. It seems that they are very happy to see Ling Feng's posture. However, it was just a few steps away. The two younger brothers who were walking behind suddenly changed their faces, and one of them was unsteady. They rushed straight at the fat man in front of them, and even the food and soup went straight up. Bang! There was a huge sound of meat falling on the ground, which made the ground tremble. Ah! A cry of pain rang out. Ha ha! Also at this time, around suddenly spread a burst of good laughter. I saw the chubby Wang fat man on the ground, crawling on the ground, with his round stomach on the ground, his fat hands and feet stretching out from front to back, and 2 dishes of soup and vegetables on his head, and 2 people behind him. The whole image of a tortoise. In particular, his appearance of trying to get up and not getting up is very funny. Even Ling Feng, who was just angry, couldn't help laughing. Retribution. Ling Feng laughs and scolds without any taboo. Cloud dance corner of the mouth is also outline, smile like looking at the 3 people group on the ground, but the bottom of the eye flashed the meaning of cold kill. However, Yunwu didn't seem to notice that she didn't say anything. When she just looked at her, there was a flash of interest in her eyes. It's cloud dance. 3 anesthetic needles went into their legs, enough for them to lie on the ground for a while. There's nothing good about this kind of bastard. Let's go. I'll treat you to a drink. Unintentionally, he stood up and patted his clothes lazily. He relaxed and looked down at Yunwu and Ling Feng. When Ling Feng heard this, he could not help grinning. Is it your treat? That's what you said. Don't go back on it. Unintentionally, he didn't say anything about it. He turned around and left towards the outside of the square. However, just then, after Wang Pang who was trying to get up, he stepped on the back of the fat hand on the ground. Ah! The cry of killing a pig suddenly rang out. Cloud Dance sees this, the corner of the mouth stirs up a smile. With the unintentional steps, he just stepped on the back of Wang Pengzi's hand. Ling Feng at this time, if you still can't see that they are intentional, it's a fool. In fact, he didn't have the heart. So, deliberately avoid his injured hand, around the other side, can be very so careless, 1 foot stepped on the back of Wang's other hand. When I left my foot, I still moved it hard. Straight rub step on a layer of skin, just from the foot. Pain that Wang fatty screams, rude voice, Ling Feng Kai contented quickly Chow Yun dance with no intention to catch up. It's so cool. That fat man Wang deserves it one day. Think of just that foot, Ling Feng after catching up, can't help but creak. Just anger swept away, at this time only a face of cheerful. He patted Yunwu an unintentional shoulder with his hand and said happily, just now, your foot is really good. It's really relaxing. Unintentionally, he turned his head and glanced at him. You're weak enough. 3 years ago, others have been promoted to the 3rd grade, but you're still a 1st grade student. No wonder you're bullied. Cloud Dance smell speech, Willow eyebrow picked. 3 years still a freshman. Just now, Wang Pengzi's strength is only in the late stage of the 7th level, and Ling Feng's strength has reached the early stage of the 7th level, and the difference is not very big. Why can't he be promoted 1 level in 3 years? You are just a freshman. What do you know? Well, don't mention the fat man Wang. Unfortunately, you said to buy us a drink, so let's go. Ling Feng seems reluctant to explain. Inadvertently glanced at him, I didn't intend to say anything. However, unintentionally but looked at the cloud dance, that line of sight a little more inexplicable meaning. Yunwu naturally felt the unintentional sight, so he raised his eyes and met his sight. What's the matter? No, I just think you look good. It's my favorite dish. A word that sounds like laziness. But from his eyes, there was no sense of jest. Cloud Dance frowned. I always feel strange in my heart. Who is he? Ling Feng smell speech, but puff to smile have no intention, you this advertisement also too shallow point. Of course, unintentionally did not answer him, finish saying that sentence, silent again go on. It seems that Yunwu hasn't spoken much all the time. See two people are silent, Ling Feng also dull shrug. You two are so boring. But no, the three finally arrived at the so-called place to have a drink. Seeing that place, Yunwu was drunk. Oh well. The so-called drinking a cup is not drinking, but simply drinking water. However, the funny thing about Yunwu is that even drinking water by the well needs to deduct the points in the token. Deep in the southern Warcraft forest, in a cave. This morning, Lan Yu took out the cold goo fire in the bone marrow for Yunwu. At this time, sitting in the cave, Mo Bai seemed to feel it, and suddenly opened his sharp eyes. How was it discovered? A voice as angry as anger, as if squeezed out of his teeth. During the period when Yunwu was sleeping in the cave, he couldn't feel her in that position. It wasn't until a few days ago that he suddenly felt something. It's in the direction of Samurai Academy. He hasn't been there because it's Shinwu Samurai Academy. It's not the right time for him to show up. As long as Lenguohuo is still in her body, he doesn't have to worry about not finding her position. It's a matter of time before we catch her. Not in a hurry. But now she not only found the cold poison fire that he injected into her bone marrow, but also drew it out. She wanted to get rid of him completely. Damn it. Think you can get rid of me? Then you are too naive. Mo Bai looked at the entrance of the cave, and a sharp color flashed in his sharp eyes. Since that wellhead drank that so-called cup. Ling Feng took her to the girls' dormitory. After Yunwu got the number of the dormitory, she went back to her dormitory. In the inner college, the only advantage may be that the dormitories do not need to be crowded with several people, but one room for each person. Night came. Yunwu didn't wait for Ling Feng to pick her up at the gate of the dormitory, but she went to the gate of the college first. This afternoon, although some of her regional arrays were not clear, her way out of school was almost the same. The entrance to the college is still as silent as it was in the morning. Yunwu waited at the door for about half a stick of incense, and finally the pharmacist elder came. Girl, I've got what you want. When will you get rid of the curse on me? The old pharmacist in gray clothes is still the same as in the morning, but there are some blue and purple marks on his left eye, like he was punched. What's wrong with your eyes? Yunwu pointed to his eyes. The old pharmacist smelled the words, but he gave her a bad look. It's not to make a brand for you. You've been in the college for a day. You should know the rules of the college more or less. Do you think all the benefits come in vain? It all comes at a price. Looking at the elder pharmacist rubbing his eyes and not angry, Cloud Dance could not help but slightly raise the corner of his mouth. I really don't know if I didn't enter this college, but after knowing it, she felt that it was wise to reach an agreement with this pharmacist early. As long as she found the map, she didn't plan to stay in the college for a long time. But before that, what she wanted most was to go to the Kangwu Pavilion. If she only depends on herself, it will take a lot of time. Now that she has such a ready-made one, why not? Please, elder pharmacist, but I promise you won't regret this deal. I'm afraid that if you want to solve the curse, you need elder pharmacist to prepare some more things. Smell speech, pharmacist elder brow a wrinkly. Anything else? It's just some medicine. Aren't you a senior pharmacist? That medicine should be a little fun for you. Cloud Dance light smile way. Well, let's talk about it. I'll get it ready. Yao Lao was also very anxious. When he heard that it was just medicine, he readily agreed. The curse of prohibition, which has been perplexed for hundreds of years, can finally be lifted. How can we not be anxious? At last, Yunwoo told him several kinds of medicine, and the most important one was emerald vine. Emerald vine. After listening to the medicine that Yunwoo said at the end, the voice of the pharmacist elder was obviously raised. Yes, that's the most important medicine. By the way, it also needs a magic core of level 7 Warcraft. I believe that for the internal college, there should be a magic core of level 7 Warcraft in stock. As long as you're ready for this, I'll be able to help you lift the centuries-old ban on you right away. In fact, Ficading and the 7th level magic core are just the medicine needed by Hyo. Yunwoo's lion's big mouth really has a feeling of blackmail in disguise. However, Cloud Dance is serious. Naturally, we can't let the medicine in front of us always think it's fake. If he can be called the pharmacist elder, he should be the pharmacist of the inner college. Well, he must have a way to get some special medicinal materials. As for the 7th level core, if this college can provide high-grade Warcraft meat as food for foreign colleges, it will definitely have the inventory of level 7 magic core. Anyway, it's all blackmail, so Cloud Dance will say what it needs at one time. However, when I heard what Yunwoo needed, the pharmacist elder's face was almost wrinkled like that of an old man. Girl, do you know what kind of medicinal material is Ficading? That's the best medicine. As soon as you open your mouth, you need the emerald vine. You really think the old man is a fool? The best medicine? Yunwoo sighed in his heart, but the old man really knew the emerald vine, which means that he must know where the medicine is. Cover up the bottom of my heart that joy, Cloud Dance dress was serious. He raised his eyes to meet the sight of the pharmacist elder and said seriously, it's because you know it's the best medicine and it's hard to find that it will make you ready. If it's such a simple medicine, it can lift the ban curse on you for hundreds of years. Do you think your Ouyang family will suffer from the sin for hundreds of years? Of course, if you don't want to find it, elder, I will continue to keep my promise. I'll get the medicine one day, and then I'll lift the curse for you. Anyway, I just entered the internal college. I'm in no hurry. I have time. When the elder pharmacist heard this, he felt depressed. She has time, but he won't wait. It's not easy to know the way to touch the forbidden mantra. The passion in my heart is up. It's going to disappear again. How can it be? But what she said is not unreasonable. If the ordinary medicine can be relieved, it doesn't have to be banned for hundreds of years. It's just that he can do something about the 7th level magic core, but the emerald vine, however, give me some time and I'll think of a way, but if you dare to cheat me, I'll make you lose it. Hearing what the elder pharmacist said, Yunwoo couldn't help but smile and stretch out his hand. Don't worry, but now, can you give me the brand of Kangwoo Pavilion first? Because this is a special token, don't just go in, at least. You can wait until the evening, you know, it's evening again. It seems that in this inner college, as a freshman, she needs to do everything secretly, backstage, well. As long as you can go in at night. It doesn't matter. And remember what you promised me. Don't forget my business when you give me a token. Not at ease, the elder pharmacist asked again. Finally, under the repeated guarantee of Yunwoo, the elder pharmacist left at ease. When Yunwoo returns to the dormitory door, he sees Ling Feng and Wu Xian. Two big men are waiting outside the dormitory door. It seems that they have been waiting for a long time. Seeing Yunwoo coming from another road, Ling Feng waved to her. Where have you been? I told you to take you to the challenge zone tonight. Ling Feng frowns at Cloud Dance to say. One side of the unintentional is still that slovenly lazy, however, his eyes looking at the cloud, but a little more. I just came down and didn't see you, so I walked around and didn't go far. Cloud Dance also casually found an excuse. There are 7 or 8 turns in the college, and a freshman can't go far. Okay, time is almost up. I'll take you to the challenge area. You can remember the way. In the future, I can't wait for you to lead you every day. With that, Ling Feng took the lead and walked towards the fork road on the other side. Cloud Dance see this, nature also did not say what to follow up. However, Yunwoo just took a step, but a hand suddenly caught her arm. What I told you at noon today is very serious. Inadvertently that lazy voice, very seriously came. What did you tell her? What? So she's good looking, and she's his dish. Is he alright? Cloud Dance slanted to look at him, but didn't annoy, but slightly pulled the corner of the mouth, that I also very seriously answer you, I already have a fiancé, so, you look for other dishes. Finish saying, Cloud Dance's hand also pushed away his that grasps the hand of her arm, follow Ling Feng's direction to leave. Fiancé. Looking at the Cloud Dance that left the back, inadvertently that lazy face, finally slightly tight frown. Challenge Zone. It is one of the important places for the existence of the inner college. All the instructors in the college support the students to set up their own challenge arena, gamble, form a party and form a team in the challenge area. As long as it's not murder, all the troublemakers will not be investigated. And this is also the college, in order to let students understand that in this martial arts world, as long as you have strength, you are the leading role, the weak, can only be pressed under the feet, humiliated. This is why, at noon today, when senior students bullied junior students, all the students looked at each other so coldly. No one sympathizes with the weak. So, if you want to get rid of that kind of treatment, try to be strong. Some of the junior students who have just entered the inner college can't get into the training tower because they can't accumulate points at the beginning. Therefore, if you want to get rid of the treatment of the weak and be strong, the only way is to come to this challenge area. In the challenge area, as long as you challenge, no matter win or lose, the college system will add a point to the challenger's token. Of course, in addition to accumulating points, we can also get practical experience. Some junior students who have just come here will gradually find out some experience of fighting under repeated defeats. From the beginning, he was defeated all the time, and gradually began to counterattack. The counterattack of the weak has also become one of the hottest spots in this challenge area. When Ling Feng and Yunwoo came to the challenge area, they were illuminated by torches. People come and go, just like coming to a downtown area at night. Roar, curse, shout, almost all the noises are interwoven together. However, when you enter the challenge area, it is an extremely spacious space. Each distance will set up a challenge arena, and the challenge arena will be numbered. For example, a challenge arena at the entrance. Mark, primary challenge, level 1, increase points by 1. At this time, there were a lot of onlookers in the challenge arena, and they were competing. This area is a primary challenge area. If you go further inside, you'll cross that boundary and become an intermediate area. If you push forward like this, the innermost area will become an advanced area. Ling Feng, who comes in with Yunwoo, points to the one who marks the line to introduce Yunwoo. Unintentionally, from outside the door of the dormitory, after Yunwoo answered him like that, he frowned and followed them silently all the way. Cloud Dance glanced around and made a visual inspection. There were more than 10 challenge arenas in the preliminary competition area. By the way, Cloud Dance, what's your strength? I'll take you to register first, and then after you get the number, you can start to challenge from the number 1 arena. I tell you, you are still a novice. You don't have to work so hard. When you feel like it's almost the same, you pretend to roll off the challenge arena. Even if you lose, you can accumulate points. Tonight, you can challenge in the number 1 challenge arena and accumulate a few more points. Tomorrow, you can add some meat and strength to yourself. Ling Feng walks towards the registration office in the challenge area and shares the experience of earning points with Yunwoo. However, Cloud Dance is still silent. Ling Feng seems to be very used to this. She does not answer, does not affect his speech. In fact, I may not know if I haven't contacted Ling Feng. Although Ling Feng is a handsome young man, he sometimes has some impatient and serious faces. In fact, it's absolutely a nag. No wonder at the beginning, that unintentional will dislike his nagging. This contact for a whole morning, almost Cloud Dance didn't say a few words, he has been chattering. However, the more you come into contact with him, the more you will find out that Ling Feng is a good person, even warm-hearted. To put it bluntly, he is a good man. In the inner college, where the good nature of this man has been gradually eroded, he still keeps the good heart, not only helping the freshmen, but also almost taking care of food, drink, housing, and transportation. It's too rare. However, as a result, Yunwu also understood why Ling Feng could not be promoted to grade for 3 years. It is estimated that his benevolence is rampant. It is said that every 6 months, the college will hold a competition for students to upgrade their grades. If they lose the competition, the senior will be demoted, and the junior will be disqualified for the next promotion. They can only wait for the next year. In the same way, if the winner in the competition, it is naturally upward promotion. Ling Feng helped the freshmen so much that he might have been detained deliberately to help them in the competition. Of course, this Cloud Dance is just a comprehensive guess of some gossip about Ling Feng when Ling Feng sent her back to her dormitory in the morning. As for the specific situation, she is not clear. But what makes Yunwu curious is why he helped the freshmen so much. Is it really just pure kindness? Sympathy? Or is there a special reason? Came to the registry. At this time the registry also has several people in line. Ling Feng then turned to Cloud Dance and asked, "What's your strength?" "Wait, we need grades." Cloud Dance pondered for a while, then spoke, 6 steps. 6 steps. Ling Feng smelled speech, in the eyes of a flash of doubt, frowned seriously. "Wei, you have to tell the truth, otherwise, receive the brand, the people in the field will arrange opponents according to your strength, this is not a joke. If you deliberately exaggerate your strength and are arranged to a powerful opponent, you will lose half your life in that game, not to mention the next one." For Ling Feng's words and expression, how could Yunwu not know what he thought in his heart? 6 levels, she is also according to enter this college people, is generally speaking. However, seeing that he didn't quite believe it, Yunwu followed his heart and said, "Then register the 5th level." 5 steps? Ling Feng's eyes detect Cloud Dance's body. His breath is weak. It's really 5 steps. However, in this college, the 5th level is even a low level, it cannot be further said. "Okay, I'll register you for level 5, but remember, when you come on stage, you feel that it's really no good. Just roll down the challenge arena as I told you." Ling Feng said. In front of the line of several people have registered to leave, he also on the front. "Ling Feng. How come it's you again? This time, who's going to register for you in your class?" When you see Ling Feng, it's like seeing an old acquaintance. "Come and register for the freshmen in my class. They have the strength at the beginning of the 5th level. When you arrange for her, remember that the arrangement level is similar. Don't be higher." Ling Feng whispered. The registration officer went over Ling Feng and looked at Yunwu not far away. He frowned. "How come the freshmen in your class are so weak again? This time, you won't be the one who pastes points for her, will you?" Ling Feng took out his token. "You don't talk so much nonsense, the old rules, don't give me too much deduction. And, by the way, arrange a few challenges for me. By the way, this time I want to go to the intermediate challenge area, so that I can mix more points." Intermediate challenge zone. Hearing Ling Feng's words, the registrar's voice obviously improved a lot. "Ling Feng, aren't you stupid? Who is in charge of the central challenge area now? You don't know. I heard that you offended the fat man Wang this morning. Now you are still going to the central challenge area. Don't you go to smoke?" The registrants looking at Ling Feng, Fundus obviously does not agree. Ling Feng grinned and knocked his fingers on the table. "Don't worry about it. As long as you arrange for me to a less obvious position, I'll be quiet. There won't be any problem." See Ling Feng also smile. The registration officer helplessly shook his head, but still did not forget to charge "I really can't help you. You can be careful yourself. I'll tell the registration clerk in the central challenge area later and ask him to arrange the corner position for you as much as possible. Thank you, brother. Ling Feng said thanks. When you get the registration number of Yunwu, Ling Feng turns around and turns back to Yunwu. He handed the brand to Yunwu. This brand is for you to use in this challenge area. Before you leave the inner college, this is your special challenge card. Put it away. When you go to the challenge arena, remember to put your challenge card and college token in the groove. Cloud Dance listened to his words. The bottom of the eyes looked at the hand in front of the brand, dark black, above the brand is 3-6. Although, in such a noisy environment around, as far as the position she stands is concerned, ordinary people can't hear the conversation between Ling Feng and the registration clerk. Can her strength, but a word does not leak of all hear clearly. 2 more points need to be deducted for registration. Did you paste it for her? Why? For a freshman like her who has just met, and even admits that he is not agreeable to her, he has to help her for a reason, right? But looking at Ling Feng in front of him, from his eyes, she can't see any scheming. Maybe, there is such a kind-hearted fool in this world. Take it. I'll take you to the challenge arena. As long as you remember what I said, if you don't win, you can roll down the challenge arena. Don't be so stupid that you have to let others fight you down. Also didn't wait for Cloud Dance to stretch out a hand to come over, Ling Feng put the token into her hand, continued to charge again. What's more, if you can't afford to eat, you can't wait for 1 or 2 minutes to eat tomorrow. You can't be in a hurry. When you get familiar with this place, I'll take you to a good place to practice. Although it's not as good as the cultivation tower, it's at least a place to practice. Okay, I've finished what I have to say. Take care of yourself. I'll do my work first. Ling Feng finished, waved his hand, and walked into the challenge area of the inner central area. Inadvertently saw I Ling Feng, final footstep or follow him after all. However, when passing by Yunwu, he said, although he's a nagging man, he's a good man. If you want to earn more points and are interested in gambling, you'd better go to the previous gambling game and make the next bet. Maybe, you'll be lucky. Finish saying, have no intention also lazily crossed Cloud Dance, followed that Ling Feng to leave. Cloud Dance then can't help but pick eyebrow of eye to see off his back figure, the eye ground flits past a touch of undercurrent. However, he also went in the direction of what he called, gambling. No matter who he is, at least, now she has not felt the crisis and hostility. As for the challenge arena, Cloud Dance didn't really plan to fight from the beginning. Even if it was to fight, it would not go to the number 1 challenge arena. According to the accumulation point by point, it would be difficult to eat and drink lessa, not to mention entering the training tower. However, it seems to be a little interesting to talk about the gamble. The register sweeps Yunwu out of the corner of his eye. It can be seen that Yunwu does not go to the challenge arena. Instead, he runs to the gambling area in the arena and shouts loudly. Hello, freshman. But there was a lot of noise around and the shouting was soon drowned. Finally, I could only watch the Cloud Dance enter the gambling area. The registration clerk took back his sight and immediately frowned and shook his head. It seems that Ling Feng is kind-hearted again this time. As soon as he entered the college, he wanted to go to the gambling area and get something for nothing. It's really worse than one. Tut. He said to himself, in his eyes is that Ling Feng is worthless, with regret and disdain. In the challenge area, gambling is allowed to exist by the college, which is very aboveboard. However, gambling is not money, but accumulated points. In this inner college, all kinds of gold, silver, and jewelry are fake and useless. But the accumulated points are different. In the eyes of these gamblers, they are just like the golden gold. In particular, it's cool to see those points, which are gradually adopted into one's own token from another's token. When Yunwu enters the gambling area, what I see are stone tables. There are grooves in both directions on the stone table, and many people are around the stone table, staring at the fight on the elevated challenge arena. It seems that the bloody fight is far more ferocious than the challenge on the challenge arena outside. Although, this is the gambling area of the preliminary competition area. But there are a lot of people. First grade. Little girl, this is not a challenge arena. You are in the wrong place. Cloud Dance just walked in a short while, a tall man came by. However, when she saw the badge on her chest, the heat of her eyes disappeared, and a brush of impatience rose. I didn't go wrong. This is where I'm coming. Cloud Dance glanced at the man, then passed him and continued to walk inside. The man wore a badge and was a third grader. Hearing Yunwoo's words and seeing her passing him like no gambling on him, her face suddenly sank. He stepped forward, reached out and stopped her, and said in a loud voice, "There are rules in the gambling area. You think anyone can come in? If you want to enter the gambling area, you need the most basic funds. You can't enter the gambling area for 20 points. Are you enough? If it's not enough, get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame me for asking you out in person." 20 minutes. The cloud dances to pick eyebrow, the eye ground is cold idea to flash over, lift the eye of glancing at the man that blocks the way. I remember, I just came in to see, at the door seemed to write, as long as there are 10 minutes can enter, you this opening but 20 minutes, be regarded as deliberately looking for my fault. The third grader heard the speech, and immediately grinned, and his eyes flashed fiercely. I'm trying to find fault with you. What's the matter? This is my territory. I'll do whatever I like. I'll give you face if I find fault with you. If I don't like it, I'll throw you out directly. Smell speech, cloud dance, eye ground cold idea flash, the corner of the mouth outlines actually, is it? But in my opinion, you are just a watchdog. In a word, the third grader turned black. His eyes were almost flaming, and his fist clenched in a moment. Good, good, very good. No one dares to make trouble in my territory, so I'll give you a chance to try my fist. As soon as the words fell, the man waved his hand and wanted to hold the cloud dance. But at that time, the waving hand was empty. When the eyes were fixed, the cloud was clearly in front of us. How could it be empty? There was a flash of doubt in the eyes of the third grader, but then he waved. When he failed again and again, he took a formal look at the cloud dance in front of him for the first time, frowning and squinting. You're a freshman. You're good at hiding. Hiding? I will have a lot of things, but unfortunately, for a watchdog, I still disdain to hand cloud dance lifted mouth to sweep, say very is indifferent. Crazy? This sentence is really crazy. Almost as soon as she said that, she just looked around to see the excitement, which was a bit funny. A girl who seems too weak to speak such crazy words in front of a third grader is not bragging. What else can it be? Freshman, your tone is crazy. In that case, why don't you go on stage and compete with him? That's right. If you dare to brag like that, why don't you go directly to the stage? Now the challenge arena is almost empty. If we want to fight, we can bet on it. Smell speech, cloud dance that corner of the mouth smile deepened a few minutes, as if, waiting for these people to coax. It's okay to go on stage, but since this is the gambling area, it naturally needs some bets. I can't go on stage for nothing, can I? Cloud danced that words, but attracted a burst of laughter of the people present, like looking at the bumpkin. Freshman, I'm afraid it's your first time to come to this gambling area. Otherwise, how can you not know that as long as you challenge on stage, the winner will increase by 30 points, and the loser will increase by 5 points, you will not go on stage in vain. That is, even if I don't know this, I dare to say that I'm on stage. I'm not afraid of death. There was a lot of laughter all around. Yunwoo's mouth turned upward, but it was covered with a sneer. You may not understand. Seeing this scene, Yunwoo raised her eyes and glanced at the third grader who was staring at the bottle in her hand. The corner of her mouth outlined. Let's go to the challenge arena. Let me try your fists. What's your taste? A voice that seemed to smile rather than smile fell. Yunwoo then threw the jade bottle into one of the people's hands. As soon as he turned his toes, he walked towards the challenge arena. That third-grade student, it seems that this is just slow god, suddenly, eyes flashed a touch of excitement ferocious. Good. Even now, he dares to be so crazy. Wait a moment, he will be merciless. After a good training, he will fight from that arena. At this time, the two on the challenge arena just ended. The loser, who was wounded all over, was helped to step down by his companions. When he met Yunwoo, the slight sympathy in the man's eyes seemed to see the same end as himself. He opened his mouth and said a word to Yunwoo. That Wang Chang, but the strength of the 7th level medium term, you take care of it. Mid-7th stage. Yunwoo saw it as soon as he met him. However, at this time, Yunwoo's challenge card is a newly registered level 5 strength sign. In other people's eyes, it is a grade 1 student with level 5 strength. This kind of strength, dare to challenge with the 3rd grade, no wonder it will attract the laughter of the whole audience. Early in the morning, everyone thought from the bottom of their hearts that Yunwoo was the loser. As for the jade bottle containing the elixir, one by one, they have been paying attention to it for a long time. They even think about how to win the elixir from other rivals after the junior student loses. On the ring. Cloud Dance came on stage from the other side and put the token and challenge card into the groove by the way. And that 3rd grader, Wang Chang, came to the stage from the other side. Similarly, before he came to the stage, he took out his own token and challenge card and put them into the groove. This is what challengers have to do when they go to the challenge arena. Because, in that way, when the challenge is over, the system can automatically add points to each token. And in the challenge area, there is no referee, as long as it does not hurt people's lives, let the fight. As for how to judge a winner or loser, it's very simple. As long as the opponent admits defeat or is shot down, that means the end of the challenge and the result. After he came on stage, Wang Chang looked at Yunwoo. His eyes were like fierce ridicule. He twisted his hands, like loosening his muscles and bones. Cloud Dance, then stands so quietly looking at him. Junior, use all your skills. I'm going to be serious. When Wang Chang said this, the fighting spirit of the middle stage of the 7th stage suddenly surged out. Cloud Dance, but still no movement. The crowd watching the scene in the challenge arena heard a lot of jeers again. Look, I'm scared. Haha, a junior is so arrogant, and deserves to suffer a little crime. Under the stage, that sneer taunts the sound to have no taboo to ring out. If you change to be an ordinary person, you will feel humiliated. However, Yunwoo seems to turn a deaf ear and quietly looks at Wang Chang. Wang Chang's fists clenched at the moment of fighting, his eyes were fierce, and his eyes were suspicious. See how I punch you. The next second, a drink from the moment, a move at the foot, instantaneous speed, suddenly on the Cloud Dance attack. Do you want to fight? The Cloud Dance is pressing Wang Chang, who is attacking like an iron fist, and the corner of his mouth is painted with a trace of evil spirit. No dodging, no dodging. Just like that, I watched his fist wave down and listened to the jeering cheers under the challenge arena. But just when the fist was about to wave to Yunwoo's head, the movement froze, and all the movements seemed to freeze at that moment. Wang Chang, who just had a ferocious expression on his face, was red with blood. His veins leaped on his forehead, and his cold sweat slid down his sides. A sound, listen to the sound of dull hum. And at that moment, the cheers of derision under the stage seemed to gradually begin to calm down. A pair of eyes staring at the challenge arena, as if they were gradually stained with a color of consternation. What's going on? Wang Chang finally took a breath from the pain and looked at the small fist that hit his abdomen. Along with the fist, and looked up at the Cloud Dance with the strange smile arc. What do you think of fists? A very light voice came. Wang Chang is at that moment, eyes suddenly stare at her. But the next second, a strange and powerful force burst out from the fist. Ah! As soon as a scream started, Wang Chang's tall and strong body suddenly flew out. What's going on? All the people watching in the challenge arena didn't see clearly what was going on. When he saw Wang Chang's body, he flew out and fell on the edge of the challenge arena. Seeing this, the people in the challenge arena could not help drinking. Wang Chang, what the hell are you doing? Stand up. Wang Chang, still in the aftershock-like pain, seems to have calmed down. He gritted his teeth and got up from the edge of the challenge arena. But when looking at the cloud dance walking slowly towards him, Wang Chang's heart is still gradually alert and stunned. You are not only the 5th level, but also the strength? You lied about your strength? Cloud dance hook lips, dyed with a evil spirit of proud cold, lied? Just now, I said in public that my strength is more than that. What stage of strength have you reached? Wang Chang clenched his fist tightly, but in his eyes he looked at Yunwu with great vigilance. Come and see for yourself, Cloud Dance says, continue to face Wang Chang. Wang Chang looked at the Cloud Dance step by step, but also in full view of the public. Under such circumstances, he must not lose face. One grits his teeth, and the powerful fighting spirit rises again in the middle of the 7th stage. This time, not in any slow, body like a fierce leopard attack, a sensitive jump, flying to the clouds. And just as he jumped up, a green light that could be seen with the naked eye gathered in his body. At the moment when he hit the clouds, the green light seemed to turn into a real leopard, and its claws came out in the air. Brush. Sharp cold, straight away from the clouds. Martial arts? See this scene of cloud dance, Lume a pick, I flash a touch of fun. However, at this moment, cloud dance also moved its feet, and the figure in public suddenly passed like a phantom. The cold on fell, the Mars flashed out, and the long mark of 5 claws was left on the ground. The crowd under the challenge arena, however, was dodged from the attack by the cloud dancing phantom speed on the challenge arena, and suddenly called out secretly. Wang Chang's heart clapped again. Dodging again. The speed of his condensed martial arts is absolutely as quick as that of a leopard. How could the freshman still escape? That's all you have, isn't it? Well, now it's my turn. When Wang Chang's face was not very good, the cool voice of Cloud Dance came from his ear. What? Wang Chang turned around and just wanted to defend. But that strange and strong little fist had already hit his abdomen. At the moment of scream, his body flew out again. But this time, he didn't fall. But, Cloud danced at strange speed, before his body hit fly to the ground, she also first step to stand in that position, is a punch to hit him fly out. In the continuous scream of the voice. Ah ah. In the continuous scream of the voice. From left to right, from right to left, from front to back, from back to front under the challenge arena, the heads of all the people turned around with Wang Chang's flying body. Don't mention how funny the scene was. Until, Wang Chang's scream began to hoarse and weak, Cloud Dance finally stopped playing. At the last stroke, it was like kicking a ball, and directly kicked Wang Chang's strong body out of the challenge arena. The people in the challenge arena gave way. Bang! With a loud noise, Wang Chang vomited blood, and his body was curled on the ground for a long time. As for the people in the challenge arena, they are totally stupid. The Cloud Dance in the challenge arena twisted its wrists and patted its clothes leisurely before looking up at the whole audience. How's it going? Anyone else want to bet? If not, let's all be more conscious and take out 20% of each token. A word spread, the silence of the audience, it seems to slow down the god. Lift eyes, a pair of eyes are staring at Cloud Dance. You, who are you? You're more than 5 levels for this question, Cloud Dance said it was not interested in answering. Walking down from the challenge arena, after confirming that the token has been injected at the 30 o'clock, Yunwoo takes out the token and challenge card from the groove, and looks at all of them in amazement. Do you want me to do it myself? The corner of the mouth, still slightly upward, the voice, is still so indifferent. But I don't know why, seeing her with such expression, people always feel a chill rising from the bottom of their heart. Just 20%. It's like drawing blood. How can they give up so easily? What's more, they feel cheated. If no one starts, it is impossible for others to take the lead. Looking at the presence of no one moving, Cloud Dance is not urgent, that is, her smile seems to deepen a bit inexplicably. Even if you don't realize it, that's okay. If I'm allowed to do it myself, I'll have to charge a handling fee. As soon as the words of Cloud Dance fall, a strange suction suddenly goes to the front student. In the twinkling of an eye, the token pinned on the student's waist has reached Yunwoo. My token. I saw that the student was anxious and wanted to step forward. But Yunwoo's hand flick and powerful attack directly made the trainee step back several steps to stabilize his body. But the student's eyes were surprised, and his heart was shocked. What power is that? Did not feel her level, but can let clear sense, he is not her opponent. Who is this freshman? Yunwoo didn't move. She threw the token from the student's waist into the groove of one of the stone tables, and her own token into the groove on the other side of the stone table. 20% of the bet, 50% of the handling charge. The total is 70%. I saw that after the words of Yunwoo had been finished, I heard a mechanical sound coming from the sky above the stone platform. A total of 158 points, 20% of the gambling capital, 50% of the handling fee, a total of 111 points, 47 points left. And just after the sound spread, it almost made the trainee unable to breathe and almost dizzy. 50% commission. He worked hard, challenged and gambled. It was only 150 points. Now, there are 47 points left. It's not the points, it's his effort. How's it going? I need to do it all by myself, right? That's 60% of the charge. The cool voice of Cloud Dance spread. At present, many people's faces were ugly. In the back, if you dare to step out again, I don't guarantee that you will take all the points in your token as punishment. The door. Several steps are ready to sneak out of the students, the pace immediately stopped. Turning his head, looking at the inside, holding his chest in both hands, and looking at their Cloud Dance coldly, a touch of embarrassment spread on several faces. First grade, don't go too far. Yes, you cheated us by concealing your strength at the beginning. Now you have to deduct 50% of the charge. You clearly want to fight against all of us present. That is, you are a freshman. Why are you proud of us? With the noise of those people at the door, the people present also began to complain. The lowest people who enter this gambling area are sophomores. Every time they bully the first graders, today, so many of them are present, but they are bullied by such a first grader. It's humiliating. Since we want to make trouble, we should make it better. If it's too big, we don't need to give the 20% point. This kind of idea gradually formed in the heart of the people present, one by one also immediately put on airs. That's right. You're a great student. Why are you so proud of us senior students? You think you beat that Wang Cheng, and you look very proud, don't you? Each one of us has good strength. If we get angry, we'll make you lose it too much. Listening to the people who are ready to protest, Yunwoo's eyes are slightly colder. Yes? So you're not going to give up all your bets, are you? All the people on the scene looked at each other, and immediately they really had a tacit understanding. They all drank together, we won't give it. What can you do with us? To cheat. I didn't expect that such a situation would happen in this inner college. However, no matter they cheat or group, if it's her, she will get back a lot of points. However, the situation at this time also gives her a good opportunity. It gives her a chance to snatch. A strange smile arc, in the cloud that pursed tight mouth outlines, very good. Good. When the people present heard those two words, they suddenly felt some strange in their hearts, as if they had some bad premonitions. But now there are so many people, can she turn the sky? But, at the moment, when the terrible suction shrouded them from the air, their self-righteous expression just froze on their faces, and their surprised eyes widened. The entire spacious area of 300 or 400 square meters is directly shrouded. What's going on? The students in the whole field felt the shrouded breath, and their stiff faces were gradually surprised. And in the face of surprise, the suction in the air automatically sucked out the token of the people on the spot. Then, in turn, one by one inlaid into the groove. After all rounds, it's almost half an hour later. Cloud Dance this just contented a brush hand, immediately threw that a large number of tokens on that side of the stone table. As for the air in that afraid of the suction, but also in that moment to lift. But at the moment of lifting, I saw a very spectacular scene. The students on the scene were all whitewashed and sat down on the ground like their feet were soft. A pair of eyes staring at Yunwoo, like one to draw her blood, eat her meat, peel her skin. However, at this moment, the whole audience, but no action, no voice. Because, after just that situation, if the present people are still silly do not know, in front of this cloud of terror, it is really a fool. Thank you for your generous gift. I'll leave you a meal of steamed bread. Don't give it away. After taking back his token from the groove, Yunwoo grinned at the people sitting on the ground. Then, in full view of the public, leisurely left. She, in fact, is kind-hearted. At least, she did not really buckle all, but also everyone's token, left a point, enough for them to eat a steamed bread tomorrow morning. Watching her back, the fists of the whole audience creaked. However, no one uttered a word until the Cloud Dance left for a long time. The students on the ground took back their eyes and looked at the pile of tokens. Suddenly want to cry without tears. Everyone, at this time, is completely angry, but also want to cry without tears. Who knows the origin of that freshman? What kind of pervert is it? Originally, it was said that 20% of the total was good. Now, all of them have only 1 point left. How can they live? However, when the group was about to cry, the female student quickly crossed the Cloud Dance and ran towards the central challenge area. Freshman. It can't be the Cloud Dancing Willow eyebrows suddenly wrinkled. As soon as they moved, they quickly headed for the intermediate challenge area. In the Educational Administration building. A tutor rushed up to the 6th floor. 5 elders. Hearing this, the 5 elders in the room looked up at the teacher who was pushing the door, and frowned. What's the matter? In such a hurry, not long ago, I found that there was a large section of abnormal data in the students' points. The tutor said quickly. Abnormal? The 5 elders finally put down what they were doing. What's unusual? There are nearly 100 fast 200 student points, all of a sudden were adopted, almost all of them, leaving only 1 point, and all of them were adopted to a freshman's token. According to the above, that freshman, or as soon as possible, registered successfully, called Cloud Dance Freshman. At the same time, the tutor handed the data to the 5 elders. Cloud Dance. After hearing this, the 5 elders raised their eyebrows. However, when he took over the tutor's record data and adoptive position, the 5 elders could not help raising their faces. Junior gambling area. That girl went to the gambling area of challenge area unexpectedly. The tutor looked at the 5 elders' sudden smile, and he couldn't figure it out. 5 elder, how do you deal with this? In fact, what he wanted to ask was whether someone had done something wrong. But the 5 elder waved his hand and said with a smile, don't pay attention to it. If this happens in the future, you just ignore it. Think of, not long ago get the information out of the courtyard, 5 elder can't help but to that girl more have a kind of curiosity. Summoner. That girl is a summoner. The vocation has disappeared for hundreds of years in the mainland of China. Now, finally, the vocation was born. No wonder he felt a strange smell when he was in the test room this morning. He was puzzled all the time. However, after learning that she was a summoner, he understood something in his heart. Estimate, that wench affirmation already contracted to have contract beast. Just, so wench unexpectedly already is summoner, the strength has already surpassed the tutors of the outer courtyard, even the tutors of the inner courtyard. Does she really want to study when she comes to inner college? Or something else? The 5 elders guessed a lot in their hearts and were also alert. However, since that girl has entered the college, she is a student of the college. No matter what her purpose is, I hope she can remember that if she is a student of the college one day, she will be a student of the college all her life. If there's nothing else, you can go down. The 5 elders all said that. Naturally, the tutor didn't say anything more. Finally, he left with a lot of doubts. In less than half an hour, the points of nearly 200 students have been adopted. This situation has never happened in history. Why did the 5 elders not pay attention to it, but let him ignore it in the future? This is not in line with the temperament of the 5 elders. What's going on? What's the origin of the new student named Yunwu? How could the 5 elders protect each other like this? Intermediate Challenge Zone. At this time, a corner of the arena, almost surrounded by hundreds of people, dense number, almost all of the people behind the line of sight are blocked. When Yunwu arrived, he just saw the register, trying to squeeze into it. Yunwu's figure flashed and followed him directly. The registration clerk, who is trying to squeeze inside, still doesn't look very well when he accidentally sees the cloud dancing behind him. But he didn't say anything, just pushed forward like that. It's crowded. In this case, it's the worst. When Yunwu saw this, he flipped his hand and pushed a force along the front of the register. In an instant, people on both sides were pushed to both sides by a strange force. All of a sudden, it gave way to the registration officer and Yunwu. The registrant, Xiao Zhu, frowned and looked at the cloud dance behind him. However, at this time, I didn't think much, so I quickly followed the way of giving way and ran towards the challenge arena. When Yunwu and Xiao Zhu saw clearly the situation in the challenge arena, their faces changed. It seems that the fight in the arena has already entered the last place. Ling Feng held the opponent's waist with both hands, and the man used his elbow to attack Ling Feng's back again and again. Ling Feng, what are you doing? Come down quickly. Xiao Zhu almost immediately yelled at Ling Feng, who was wounded and bloody all over the arena. Hearing the voice of Xiao Zhu, Ling Feng, who is still holding the opponent in the ring, finally slightly raises his eyes, which are red silk eyes, and looks at Xiao Zhu and Yun dance. It seems that I want to open my mouth to say that I'm okay, but as soon as I open my mouth, blood is pouring out from the corner of my mouth. Ling Feng's opponent is not Wang Pengzi, but a man wearing a 3rd-grade badge, a cold man who looks like he is about 25 or 26 years old and full of anger. However, when Yunwu felt the strength of his body, his eyes suddenly became cold. Top 8? He is the strength of the top 8. The 3rd grader at the top of the 8th grade? Absolutely impossible. The only possibility is at that time, the corner of Cloud Dance's eyes swept to the left corner of the challenge arena. The figure was very abrupt, and there was Wang Peng. See, that Wang fat person double eyes son of stare at the Ling breeze on the stage, that chubby face up, but smile incomparably free. It's Fat Wang. 5th grade. Yes, the badge that Fat Wang was wearing on his chest was the badge of the 5th grade. It seems that the man in the challenge arena exchanged his badge with Wang Pengzi. He is Wang Pengzi, please come to deal with Ling Feng's helper. Think of here, Cloud Dance, that pair of star eyes suddenly dangerous narrow up, a inexplicable anger from the bottom of her heart ting up. Just, Ling Feng said to her before, but don't hold on. He thought he would follow the challenge. Can see him now appearance, he estimate already couldn't support, why still dead of hold the opponent not to put. What's more, no intention. Didn't he follow Ling Feng? Damn, how could that person's strength be a third greater? Ling Feng, don't be silly. Come down quickly. Xiao Zhu looks at Ling Feng's appearance, is very anxious, hurriedly roars loudly. However, Ling Feng did not let go. Bang bang. Once and again, the cold man's elbow fell down, and the bang came from Ling Feng's body. Ling Feng can't help it, and more blood gushes out of his mouth. I don't know why, but he still won't let go. Damn it, Xiao Zhu cursed and immediately wanted to rush to the challenge arena. But before climbing the challenge arena, he was opened by the students on one side. You're the registration officer of the challenge area. You want to break the rules of the challenge area. I owe you a little bit of knowledge. Otherwise, just like the weak boy just now, you'll be killed and hung on the display platform. One of the cadets with Xiao Zhu on the plane, in a voice, did not hide the threat. When Xiao Zhu heard that Yan's face changed, his eyes were full of anger. He wanted to open the student's grip, but his strength was not as good as others. A showcase? The cloud dances to smell speech, the willow eyebrow wrinkles, the vision instantly swept toward all around under the night. When I saw the figure tied on the long pole not far from the challenge arena, the cold light at the bottom of my eyes could not be concealed. No intention. How could he be so tied to that long pole? According to his unique flavor, he should not be a simple person. How could he, however, at this time, Cloud Dance did not have so much thought to guess. Instead, it was in the sight of the surrounding students that they stepped on tiptoe and jumped into the challenge arena. Let him go. 3 words, extremely cold sound. Cloud Dance suddenly appeared, and immediately attracted everyone's attention. Including Fat Wang in the corner. See only, that Wang fat person is seeing Cloud Dance, pupil shrank. It's her. This morning, she also stepped on the girl with his foot. Good. Before he went to see her, she sent her to the door by herself. On the challenge arena, the book hit the cold man of Ling Feng with one elbow. Hearing the sound, he finally stopped his mechanical action and looked up at Yunwu. He's my task. If he doesn't give up, he can't let go. A cold man has a cold voice. It seems that he is stating a truth that he thinks is right. Mission. Smell speech, Cloud Dance narrowed eyes. From his eyes, she saw a look too familiar. Just like when she was still in the killer organization, she had to try her best to finish the task before she finished it. But now if it continues like that, it is estimated that Ling Feng's life will be lost in this arena. By Qing Shui, teach her a lesson by the way, then I'll give you double points. At this time, Wang Pengzi's coarse voice came from the challenge arena. See only, under that Wang fat man that shout away voice, that is by whiter clear water of cold man, the I sees to Cloud Dance. Mission, I take it. Cold voice, no feelings in general sounded. And at that moment, by Qing's sailor of force, directly will Ling Feng to throw out, the body shape is extremely fast to the Cloud Dance attack in the past. Yunwu's eyes have been cold for a long time. For the first time, in addition to the things about himself and the dragon, Yunwu felt angry for the first time. And Cloud Dance angry, the consequences are very serious. Almost at the moment of the white water attack, Yunwu didn't hide, a strong breath suddenly vacated. At this time, she did not wait for the other side to attack as before. But, at the moment when the white water attacked, her figure had stepped forward abruptly, and her fist contained the strong force. She faced the cold face of the white water straight away. White water a body back to avoid, boxing wind blowing face, but that cold face, finally appeared a trace of surprise. How fast! But the next second, another punch hit him in the stomach. White water body, suddenly flew out of more than 10 meters, made a dull sound, almost fell off the challenge arena. This scene, immediately let all onlookers on the scene are surprised to see stupefied. Including the fat Wang. What's the matter? What's going on? That's a 5th grader. His strength has reached the peak of the 8th grade. Wang Pangzi is out of the blood, just invite him to do it. But how could this freshman who suddenly came out of the room put him down with a punch? Also a punch to hit fly out? Is it that they are blinded? White water climbed up from the ground, looking at the eyes of Cloud Dance, finally no longer just cold, there is a trace of surprised doubt. Is she stronger than him? A freshman who seems to be only a teenager, even stronger than him? This idea, let by Qingshui himself, some can't believe. So, after he stood up, he turned his hand, a cold light flashed by, and a sharp long sword immediately nestled in his hand. Ling Feng, who was thrown out of the challenge arena, almost had no strength to get up. However, when he saw this, he still tore his teeth and said to the cloud, he is still an assassin, don't try to be brave and go down. Say a word, as if have to gasp for several breath, can say complete like. Assassin? As soon as I felt the too cold breath on him, Yunwu felt it. But, she Cloud Dance this life, most have no scruple of, that is assassin. The cloud dances the corner of the mouth to outline, and didn't respond to Ling Feng's words, but the same cold eyes, staring at the man called by Qingshui. Hand over, a fierce cold. Who? The roar of the sword rose in the air in an instant. At that moment, everyone's eyes were shocked. Yunwu already held a majestic sword in his hand. I can see that the old totem on the sword is extremely domineering and dignified. It's strange to match with Cloud Dance's petite posture. But what can't be ignored is that even if the image is strange, the cold and fierce breath of Yunwu and the gas field of the big knife are enough to shock the audience. Good cool feeling. Guwu broadsword. Originally, there was no need to use a butcher's knife to kill chickens. But she was angry. She wanted everyone present to know how serious the consequences of angering her were. The white water, when she felt the breath of Yunwu and the big knife in her hand, was obviously stunned. She is also an assassin. But an assassin with a big knife? This is definitely the first time I've seen this combination. However, this is also the first time, not because of the reward, but can attract his interest. Brush. Sword, out of the blue. Bai Qingshui's strange figure moved very quickly, and the sword in his hand showed no mercy. As soon as the assassin put out his sword, he went towards the fatal point. This belongs to assassins, the most basic. Therefore, the general powerful assassin does not have the sword, a sword will see the blood to receive. However, Yunwu didn't raise his sword or dodge. Instead, he just moved his foot and met the sword from Bai Qingshui. Cloud Dance. Ling Feng saw, exhausted all one's strength to seem to startle to shout. Even if the students around the challenge arena can't help shouting. That freshman, just now full of domineering, how could he find himself dead in the next second? Even the unintentional, who was hung on the long pole, saw this scene, and his pupils shrank. Cloud Dance. A low murmur. However, Wang Pengzi's eyes brightened when he saw this. The hands wrapped around the white cloth were so emotional that they couldn't help clenching their fists. They suddenly yelled, "Okay, just kill her like that." Under Wang Peng's cry, Bai Qing's long sword pierced Yunwu's body. The onlookers under the challenge arena saw that there was a sudden cry of surprise. Are you going to die? Even Xiao Zhu's face changed and his eyes widened. However, all the people just looked at Bai Qingshui's long sword stabbing into Yunwu's body, but they didn't notice the stiff expression on Bai Qingshui's cold face and the absolute astonished eyes. Haha, it's good to stab her. I'd better stab her to death. Then I'll give you some more points. When Wang Pengzi saw this, he began to laugh excitedly. Yes? You want me dead? Good. Just as Wang chuckled, the cold voice suddenly came. What? Wang Pengzi's laughter suddenly got stuck, and he suddenly looked at it. When he saw the figure from the void, the color of horror suddenly hit his eyes. But without waiting for his exclamation, his huge fat body had been directly lifted up and thrown onto the challenge arena. Bang! A heavy object fell to the ground. Suck! The sound of pouring gas spread in the whole crowd in an instant. Two cloud dances. In the eyes of the onlookers, the cloud dance, pierced by the white clear water under the sword, was distorted, and in an instant, it turned into a shadow and disappeared. Shadow? How is that possible? They clearly saw with their own eyes that her body was actually pierced. How, however, when they couldn't believe it, they saw that the white water, who was still holding the sword, turned pale and knelt on one knee with a clatter. Beads of blood, oozing from his neck. But the wound did not go deep, but the strength was very good. He could only hurt his skin and flesh at a very fast speed to cut the artery. This kind of assassin's skill, even he, can't do so well. I lost. After 28 years of hard training, he failed in the hands of a teenage girl without even using a single move. How is that possible? Yes, he didn't believe it himself. However, the slight tingling on the neck and the bloody smell from the tip of the nose were always there, and he reminded him. He lost. He lost completely. Lose, however, on the other side of the challenge arena, Wang Pengzi got up from the challenge arena with a pain, and his face was very wonderful. Suddenly dark and bright, like anger and fear, the girl standing in front of him with a big knife, cold eyes glancing at him. What do you want? I tell you, you have violated the rules and regulations. In my territory, do you believe I can let people catch you and throw you out? Looking at the cloud dance, Wang Pengzi endured the inexplicable shock in his heart, and tried hard to stand the bucket waist, with a strong gas field of fat meat on his face. In full view of the public, it seems to want to live cloud dance, do not let yourself too ugly. The central challenge area is now under his care. If it is smashed in front of the public, what face will he have to face here? However, some people are just like that and never know their own position. See only, that Wang fat man says to finish, very ruthlessly at that challenge arena of, younger brother, make a wink. All of a sudden, I saw more than a dozen students wearing third-grade badges rushing up from front to back under the challenge arena, one by one holding long swords, watching Cloud dance warily. His territory. Seeing this scene, the smile on Yunwu's face outlined, but the smile was so cold that it could freeze. What is aura? Just look at the girl in front of you. The silent and cold atmosphere almost filled the whole scene in an instant, and everyone shivered inexplicably. It's cold. It seems that you need to rub your arms so that you can rub the cold goosebumps down. Who are the freshmen? How come I've never heard of such a number one before? Is it illegal? How do I hear that there are no rules to talk about in the challenge area? As long as someone is strong enough, he can make the decision anyway. You say, if I cut your fat into pieces, will this territory be mine? Cloud dance squints at that pair of star pupil, stares at that Wang fat man to say, the smile that the corner of the mouth rises suddenly dyed a trace of inexplicable strange blood. What? As soon as Wang Pengzi heard Yunwu's words, his face suddenly changed, almost in an instant, staring at Yunwu's eyes, his canthus were about to crack. You are a freshman. You are so arrogant. Good. I'll make you regret saying that. The moment Wang Pengzi's words fell, the fighting spirit in the middle of the seventh stage suddenly started. Cheers also set off at that moment, all give me together, mercilessly close to death her. More than a dozen, little brother, students, also in an instant, brush up their own fighting spirit, more than a dozen different breath, at the same time, Chaoyun dance oppressed. Then, more than a dozen people started to brush with long swords, and the cold light passed by without any hesitation. More than a dozen third graders, against a first grader. It can be said that this scene has never appeared. Although all the students were surprised by the situation just now, they could see the scene at this time, but each of them had a passion of watching. The cry of surprise rose with the attack. But the cry of blood just started, and it was not a few seconds, but a strange sound of pouring gas spread away. A blue light suddenly flashed across the challenge arena. In addition to Bai Qingshui, Ling Feng, and Wang Pengzi, more than a dozen students suddenly hit a thin layer of ice and formed an iceman. This scene directly scared Fat Wang. Frozen to ice? What's going on? However, Wang Pengzi, who watched this scene with his own eyes, trembled his whole chubby body. You. My voice trembled with tongue under the flash of blue light, the chilling feeling rushed to the face. The temperature in the air, that is to say, drops rapidly at that time. But it's all just the beginning. I saw that when the people came from the chill. More than a dozen roads in the challenge arena, the frozen bodies of the students were suddenly thrown out one by one like a ball. The boundary between the primary challenge area and the intermediate challenge area. Bang bang. One by one, the figures were thrown out of the air. As soon as the figures of the trainees fell to the ground, their frozen bodies suddenly thawed. However, they all shivered with cold, their lips were white, their faces were purple, and their mouths were white. Cold. Those people seemed to have just come out of the ice and snow of more than 10 degrees below zero. Such a scene not only shocked the spectators in the intermediate challenge area, but also the people in the primary challenge area were shocked by these people who suddenly fell from the air. What's the matter? These are all third graders. How did they fall out of the air? Many students in the primary challenge area, seeing this situation, began to rush to the intermediate challenge area. And now, the ice on the challenge arena has disappeared, but the chill in the whole air is still very strong. It was so cold that all the students around the challenge arena were clucking with their teeth trembling, but none of them left, or even their eyes moved away from the girl on the challenge arena. They didn't know what the blue light was doing. I just feel that it is a kind of strange power which is very similar to water property, but not very similar. However, they seem to know that the girl's weird. Wang Pengzi widened his eyes and stepped back step by step. The horror in his eyes was beyond doubt at this moment. You are. However, Wang Pengzi's words had not finished, and a cold light had already flashed by. Ah! At that moment, a shrill scream sounded in the air. I saw that on Wang Peng's fleshy arm, the one with meat and clothes was cut off directly. Blood, along the blade of the broadsword, dripped down the ground slippery. No one can see how Chu Yunwu moves. Anyway, when everyone hears Wang Pengzi's scream, the sword in Yunwu's hand has been taken back and put on his side. Wang Pengzi's face turned white, and he covered the blood flow of a large piece of meat. His arm was shaking. Looking at the cloud dance walking slowly, he finally asked for mercy with a trill, "You, don't kill me. This is a college. I don't kill people." In Wang Fatty step back, cloud dance step closer, hook lip smile back. As soon as Wang Pengzi saw her smile, he felt more and more scared. Then, what do you want to do to me? I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Is that okay? Give up. Cloud dance pick eyebrow, but, slowly close to the pace did not stop. In my eyes, never regard you as an opponent. How can you admit defeat? Never regarded him as an opponent? For a warrior, is that a word of shame? And that sentence also made Wang Pengzi's face pale and ugly. However, at this time, he was no longer angry. Because at this time, he realized that he was not her opponent in terms of strength or martial arts. It's just, what does she mean by being so reluctant now? What do you want? Wang Pengzi retreated, but she approached like that. This makes the inexplicable fear in Wang Peng's heart seem to deepen more and more. Cloud dance looking at that pale suddenly dark suddenly bright complexion of Wang Peng, the fundus of the eye floated a bloodthirsty sneer. I said that since this challenge area is dominated by those who have the ability, I will replace it. So, Before that, in order to better deter all the students present, I said to do what I said, cut the meat of your former manager one by one. Words of fall, did not wait for anyone to respond to come over, a cold light in front of everyone's passing. Brush. Ah. The roar of the sword, accompanied by the sad cry of the fat man Wang, completely shocked all the onlookers. Including the white water. I saw, his cold eyes, also flashed a surprised light, body shock. The smell of blood will soon spread in the challenge arena. Under the twinkling of cold light, pieces of bloody meat gradually appeared in the open space of the challenge arena. When the cry stopped, the knife, which was so fast that people could only see the cold light, finally stopped. Suck. Poor gas sound, instantly in the whole intermediate challenge area rings, a road incomparably startled eyes straight looking at the challenge arena. Fat man? No, at this time, the fat man couldn't see the chubby feeling. At this time, the whole person, except the head, had no good skin. The whole person is bloody. On the ground of the challenge arena, there are lots of bloody meat slices cut from the fat man Wang. They are bloody and disgusting. Seeing this, everyone present seemed to feel that their stomach was writhing inexplicably. A kind of nausea goes down the throat. Good, cruel. What a terrible girl. At this time, everyone was shocked, everyone, even the unintentional one tied to the long pole, was shocked to see here. However, his shock is different from those below who feel terrible, but feel blood. A kind of blood that seems to rise from the bottom of his heart makes his whole body in the stagnant cells, and instantly begins to breathe fiercely and rapidly. Originally beaten weak breath, is also surrounded by the smell of blood, as if some changes began to take place. Cluck. The bones in the body creak, like, what's evolving. However, his eyes were locked on the cloud dance in the challenge arena, and the heat rose from the bottom of his eyes. Of course. At this time, Yunwu naturally didn't know what happened there. At this time, she just let out her anger. Sliced meat is cut, but I think you don't have much appetite for raw meat. Cloud Dance looks at the students with disgusting faces under the challenge arena. At the moment when the corner of her mouth was raised, the palm of her hand turned up, and a flame suddenly jumped from her palm. The original cold temperature suddenly soared again. Fire, flame. Solid flame. Around the ugly face of the onlookers, many suddenly stare big eyes. However, Cloud Dance is in a hand, in a moment will be in the hands of the flame toward the ground. Those meet and go. When it was hot, the flame disappeared. The smell of blood in the air was replaced by a smell of barbecue. Just bloody meat, at this time is golden ripe. These, as I Cloud Dance to take over this intermediate challenge area, to give you a gift, how much you want to eat, you come up to take. The voice of Cloud Dance is extremely dignified and cold. It spreads around like a megaphone. However, as soon as she said that, she heard a lot of vomit around. To this, Cloud Dance that corner of the mouth sneer more deeply a few minutes. She is not really cruel. Instead, most of the people in this college seem to have been wiped out of their human nature. In this case, she will give them a good baptism. Let them see what is the real cruelty. Very good, it seems that everyone has no opinion. After that, I will be in charge of the intermediate competition area. If anyone has any opinion, come to me. Now it's okay, it's all over. The voice of Cloud Dance is full of hegemony and dignity. I saw, in her words, surrounded by the students around, whether it is pale, shocked, stunned, as if there were not half of them who dared to resist, they immediately scattered around. At this time, Yunwu slightly turned his head and looked at Wang Pang, who was lying on the ground and seemed to be in a coma but not yet in a coma. Blood is still flowing from his wounds. However, that kind of injury won't kill him for the time being, but if the blood flow goes on like this, I don't know. After Cloud Dance glanced at him, she didn't care about him for the moment. Instead, he turned around and walked towards Ling Feng, who fell on the edge of the challenge arena and was also injured. Ling Feng saw everything that happened in the challenge arena just now. Looking at the coming cloud dance, his mood at this time is extremely complex. Originally, he thought that she was weak, just a freshman who entered the inner college relying on the backstage. Therefore, he always thought that he was helping her for her good. But in fact, her strength does not need his kindness at all. Cloud dance see Ling Feng that look in the eyes, how many guess what he thought in the heart. But she didn't say much. Because sometimes, if you say something and explain it too much, it will make the other party feel that it is a kind of charity and pressure. But in front of him, Yunwoo didn't say anything, so he stretched out his hand. Ling Feng raised his eyes, looked at the cloud dance standing in front of him without bending his waist, looked at her familiar and indifferent eyes, looked at her outstretched hand. Originally, the inferiority complex in my heart gradually faded away. Because he understood what she meant from her behavior. She was telling him. She is still her. Although, in other people's eyes, it may be funny. But he really felt it. Ling Feng is not a person who wants to lose face and has a strong sense of inferiority. Otherwise, he will not teach Yunwoo that if he can't fight, he will go down the challenge arena and mix points. See Cloud dance so, understand him, he naturally also stretched out his hand, grabbed her hand. However, Ling Feng thought that Yunwoo wanted to pull him up. However, when he grasped her hand, his body was shocked. Then, eyes suddenly rose a touch of surprised color, straight staring at the cloud. What's going on? How did he feel that when he met her hand, he was tearing the painful wound and began to feel crisp and fast healing? I don't think so. The situation was too frightening. Did he hallucinate? However, when Ling Feng watched with his own eyes, the broken wound on his wrist was healing with naked eye speed under a layer of light blue light, and his body was shocked again. Is the wound really healing? Cloud dance, Ling Feng keeps just posture, but can't help looking up at the cloud dance, but never think, just meet her that pair of tiny flashing purple pupil eyes. In Leng after a return to God. Ling Feng feels a little unnatural. For the first time, such a close look seriously staring at a woman. For the first time, he felt that his heart was not willing to be calm. How could that be? Is there magic in her? Trauma should be no problem, as for internal injury also need to recuperate a few days. Feel almost, cloud dance also converged the water element in the body, toward that Ling Feng said, water element has the effect of healing trauma. This is what Bai Lao said when she broke through the martial arts sage a few days ago. Today, it's her first time to use it. It looks good. After Yunwoo finished, he didn't pay more attention to Ling Feng. After converging the water element, he pulled him from the ground and stood up, then took back his hand. Turning his head, he looked at the white water not far behind him, who was still half kneeling on the ground. It's my territory after here. No one is allowed to take over the task and smash the site on my territory. The voice of Cloud Dance is very cold. The look in Bai Qingshui's eyes has returned to coldness. However, there is a different color in the sight of Cloud Dance, as if it's like that worship. Mission failure, from now on I will seal the sword. Seal the sword. Hearing his words, the cloud dances and the willow eyebrows pick. It seems that there is something unexpected. An assassin said that he wanted to seal the sword, but it took a lot of determination. However, the white water at this time, and added, I want to worship you as a teacher. She's a teacher. Cloud Dance just raised eyebrows, slightly frowned for a while, the fundus of the eye flashed an indescribable deep streamer. However, after glancing at him, he raised the corner of his mouth. Do you want me to be your teacher? You, a senior in grade 5, want to worship my freshman as a teacher? Do you think that's funny? White water is still cold face, eyes but very serious looking at Cloud Dance, but said a very crazy words. In the past 28 years, you are the only one who let me fail without even using one move. In this life, you are the only one who can be qualified to be my master. Smell speech, Cloud Dance, corner of mouth smile arc deepened a few minutes. But he gave a cold voice. Yes? But it's a pity that I'm not interested in being an apprentice if I can't even catch a move. These words, not surprisingly, Whitewater's face slightly changed. But soon, he raised his head coldly and looked at the cloud dance with a trace of perseverance. Is that so long as I can catch you, you can accept me as an apprentice? Cloud Dance smelled speech, but just outlined the corner of the mouth sneer, looked at him, did not answer. Seeing this, Bai Qingshui stood up from the ground. I'll come to you in 3 days, and I'll take your move. With that, Bai Qingshui turned around and left the arena neatly. Looking at the back of the white water, the smile in the eyes seems to deepen a bit, inexplicably swept through the depths of the eyes. Ling Feng has been looking at the changes on her face since she was relieved. His eyes were naturally attracted by her unfathomable smile, but he didn't quite understand it. Let's go back to the dormitory and have a good rest. Take back the line of sight, Cloud Dance turned to CNI, Ling Feng said. However, before he left, Yunwu came to the fat man after all. The water element cured his injury and stopped the bleeding. Of course, Cloud Dance has no good intentions. It's limited. This wound, also just give him surface healing, stop the blood. At least, it takes a month or 2 in bed. However, Cloud Dance has also done a great, good thing, that is, originally a fat man, he lost a lot of meat, which is definitely more effective than liposuction in modern medicine. You, the summoner. On the way back to the dormitory, he was helped by Xiao Zhu. He suddenly looked at Yunwu for no reason and said something. Cloud Dance hears speech, poor also did not conceal. Well. She had just used the fire element of death, and she expected to be discovered. However, it seems that it's not too bad to find out. Anyway, the story about her in the gambling area and challenge arena will be spread sooner or later. Summoner. Ling Feng and Xiao Zhu are stunned when they hear about it. She's a summoner. Is she really a summoner? Just after the healing of water element, this possibility flashed through Ling Feng's heart, but it was totally different from what he really heard. I feel that she is better than him. But Xiao Zhu was even more shocked in his heart. Staring at Yunwu, he gradually raised the incomparable respect for the strong. Just now, what happened to you? Knowing that he is invincible, how can he still pester that white water like that? Cloud Dance think of before of doubt, saw I Ling wind of asked Ling Feng hears speech, but flashed a touch of sadness in the eyes, however, cover up very quickly. Grinning, nothing. I just don't want to lose. However, one side of the small Zhu but cut in a sentence, can let you so not lifelike, it must be that Wang Pang took that thing to excite you again, I say you silly, all so long thing, you still so spell do what? Xiao Zhu's words made Ling Feng's face slightly changed, and his eyebrows suddenly wrinkled. Zhu, you don't talk. No one thinks you are dumb. When Yunwu heard this, he naturally asked, what's the matter? At this time, Xiao Zhu ignored Ling Feng's obstruction and said, 3 years ago, when the promotion contest was held, because of a false accusation, Ling Feng couldn't get promoted for 3 years. Framed? What frame up? Cloud Dance can't help looking at Ling Feng. Ling Feng frowns tightly, but he doesn't plan to open his mouth. One side of the small Zhu can't see past, direct way, I and Ling Feng of the same year into the students, that game I happen to be also present, I am the most clear. Little Zhu. Ling Feng yelled angrily. Little Zhu Dun also felt a little angry, Ling Feng, when do you want to escape? Since you don't say it, I'll say it for you. As for what you like in the future, I don't care about you. After Xiao Zhu finished, he turned to Yunwu immediately. 3 years ago, the competition was divided into 3 groups. At that time, Ling Feng, Wang Pengzi, Wang Xian, the monitor of the freshman middle school, and Xia Yu, a female student, were in one group. I was divided into another group at that time. Because of some accidents during the competition, Ling Feng's team and I were all scattered. Ling Feng and I just met each other, and it was just one day go to the same place. When you find Wang Pengzi, Wang Xian and Xiaoyu is dead under the claws of Warcraft. Although Wang Pengzi and Wang Xian are injured, they are afraid of death. However, when they returned to the college, the two brothers insisted that it was Ling Feng who abandoned his teammates that led to Xiaoyu's death. At that time, Ling Feng just didn't get hurt at all. No matter how we explained it, the tutors decided that it was Ling Feng who abandoned his teammates that led to Xiaoyu's death. As a result, he was disqualified for any promotion. At this point, Xiao Zhu was angry. That fat man Wang and his brother Wang Xian are despicable people. In the past 3 years, once they repent, they don't leave. Instead, they bully and insult Ling Feng in disguise every time. Wang Xian. Hearing the bullying words of Xiao Zhu, Yunwu's eyes were cold. She has never had any friends, and few people can be regarded as friends by her. However, once a friend is identified by her, she will never allow anyone to humiliate her friend. Anyone. How long is the promotion contest this year? Cloud Dance slants ahead, looking at that small Zhu inexplicably asked a sentence. Just now, Xiao Zhu, who was still in anger, began to react immediately after he was stunned. About 3 months. 3 months? Time, it seems a little longer. However, Yunwu pondered for a while, then slightly raised his eyes, looked at the dark night sky. It turned out that he was framed, so there is no need to shrink, continue to straighten up, do anything you want to do, and wait for 3 months. Where he fell, he would get up. What? Cloud danced that words, let small Zhu follow Ling Feng all along. However, Yunwu didn't say anything more. He turned to Xiao Zhu and asked, do you know where the Kangwu Pavilion is? Zhangwu Pavilion? Xiao Zhu frowned and looked at the cloud dance. The Kangwu Pavilion needs the consent of the tutor and the token to enter the Kangwu Pavilion. What do you want to do? However, unintentionally, he pointed to a certain direction at this time. Go through this road, turn left and enter the back of the forest. Cloud Dance saw an eye not intentional, the corner of the mouth slightly yawned. Thank you. By the way, you don't have to go to the morning class tomorrow morning. Wait for me at the door of the dormitory. Finish saying, Cloud Dance also wait for them how to reply, turn round and neatly toward the direction of unintentional point to leave. After watching Cloud Dance leave all the time, the 3 men took back their sight. Do you think she really went to the Kangwu Pavilion? Xiao Zhu murmured. Unintentionally did not answer, but did not let Zhu help, lazy like loose bones, completely did not just weak. You. Xiao Zhu was surprised to see that unintentional. According to unintentional words. After Yunwu passed through the woods, he saw a stone gate between the cliffs. There is a groove in the stone door. Cloud Dance also took out, tonight that pharmacist elder gave her that token put in. After a while, the stone door opened automatically. Just as the stone door opened, the dark room lit up, as if it were an automatic mechanism. Yunwu takes back the token and goes in. As soon as you walk through the door, the stone gate will merge automatically. Inside is a very spacious space, and the spacious space around is that row of bookshelves. Above is full of the same color of books. After Yunwu went in and swept around, he took out a book from the shelf. Level 3, Wind Fist. Cloud Dance muttered out the font on the book. It seems that these books are really martial arts. Look around. There are so many books. I just didn't expect that there were so many martial arts skills in the Tibetan Martial Arts Pavilion. However, Yunwu glanced at the title of the book and put back the books in his hand. Instead of looking through them one by one, he walked slowly along the bookshelf. I found that this Kangwu Pavilion is like a deep hole, and I can't see the bottom all the time. Until, Cloud Dance probably all walked half a pillar fragrant time, just saw a small door. After walking to the small door and seeing the groove above, Yunwu took out the token and put it in. Limited, unable to open. Overhead, a mechanical sound came. Heard, Cloud Dance forehead black lines straight down. The dead old man thought that what was the special token he gave her. It turned out that there was a restriction. It's estimated that what she put out here are all ordinary martial arts skills, and what she wants to see is naturally not these. But if the doorknob doesn't open, she can't smash the door, can she? It seems that tomorrow we'd better go to the dead old man and ask about the situation. Cloud Dance thinks, also turn around to prepare to see if there is suitable Ling Feng them. However, as soon as she turned around, there was the sound of the stone door opening behind her. Turn around and see the stone door open. What's going on? However, the Cloud Dance didn't have any hesitation. As soon as his body flashed, he immediately flashed in. However, when you see that the inside is still as spacious as the outside, surrounded by rows of books, Yunwu frowns. She originally thought that this small door should be a secret room or something, hiding high-level martial arts skills. But look at the current situation. How can books still be full of high-level martial arts skills? I thought it was you. Just as the clouds were frowning and meditating, a voice came from not far away. Pity Ah Huan. Cloud Dance turned to see the feet floating in the corner, is looking down at the Book of Youth, can't help but Lu Mei suddenly picked up. Why are you here? Lien Ah Huan raised his head from the book, glanced at the clouds, and said in a bright voice, I'm the administrator here. Where else can I be if I'm not here? Administrator. The Cloud Dance's the eye ground brush however a bright, however, also cover up of very good. You don't have to go back to bed this evening. Lien Ah Huan continued to look down at her hand and said casually, I can't sleep at night. I have to wait for the day. Now I'm on duty. Is he on duty? However, at this time, Yunwu came forward, looked down at the book in his hand, and said, Pity Ah Huan, you are the administrator here. Do you know what books are there? I know. What about advanced martial arts books? I know. Can you show me that? No. When Lien Ah Huan answered, he closed the book in his hand and looked up at her. Although I'm not as cunning as you human beings, don't treat me as a fool. Presumably, this morning Cloud Dance that deceived him, he thought about later, some want to understand. His words, let Cloud Dance for a moment lang. However, the next second, the corner of his mouth raised and looked at him with a smile, you know I'm a summoner, and dare to admit that you are not human in front of me? Pity Ah Huan that pair of clean eyes, quietly looking at her. After a long time, he said, what if you are a summoner? No one can hurt me here. Moreover, although I am not a human, I am not a Warcraft. Summoner contract Warcraft, this is the law of the world. Yunwu shrugged, I didn't say I would hurt you, and who do you hear that I can only contract with Warcraft? When he said that, Cloud Dance hands move, blue light and green light flash in the air. In a cold blue light, Lan Yu's figure appears, and under a blade like wind, Bai Shuer, who is like a rabbit, also appears. Of course, let Lan Yu and Bai Shuer out. Naturally, let Xiao Chou and Hung Ling out to breathe fresh air. However, as soon as the stinky guy from Hung Ling came out, he was so excited that he ran around with little Stinky and played together. Cloud Dance is also lazy to pay attention to, but look at that Pity Ah Huan, how? How are you feeling? This words, let Pity Ah Huan see you brow. However, there was a flash of surprise in his eyes. One is a half ghost, the other is ice soul body. How can you contract something that is not Warcraft? Cloud Dance looked at him and grinned, it happens to be a little special. It seems that there is no restriction on the contract. In fact, she was very curious about what he was. Actually one I can see through Lan Yu and Bai Shuer's Numenon. Pity Ah Huan smell speech, the facial expression is not very good, that pure eye ground deep place finally some rosa silk of vigilance. But don't worry, most of my contract animals are willing. Cloud Dance looking at him that vigilance, can't help reaching out to clap his shoulder of say. However, when she patted him on the shoulder, her eyes suddenly passed a bit of surprise. What a powerful aura. What's going on? When I touched his hand before, I didn't feel any aura. How could I pat him on the shoulder tonight with such a strong aura? Pity Juan didn't like her touch, frowning and patting her hand. As soon as he moved, he floated up to the sky and sat up in the corner. Don't tell a lie. As long as there are spiritual things with self-consciousness, who is willing to become a slave or a contract beast of human beings? Even if you don't believe it, I didn't ask you to believe it. Cloud Dance said. But then she continued, but I can see something about you from you. What about him? Pity Juan looked at Cloud Dance, pure eyes and some sink down. What's the matter with me? I found out that I saw you twice. Twice you like to lean against the wall and float. You sleep during the day and work at night. Aren't you a half-disabled spirit? Smell speech, pity, the corner of the world mouth a draw. You're a half-crippled spirit. Isn't it? Then why can't you step down on the ground? Cloud Dance lifted mouth to look at him to ask a sentence. In fact, this morning, she noticed that when she added earth elements to his body and made him down to earth, she noticed his unnatural rigid feet. It can be seen from that he has never been down to earth. Can you take care of me and my business? I like floating. Okay, your token can't come in here, you can go out. Pity Juan can't bear to get up, a hand immediately opened the side of the small stone gate, signal to drive people. I thought we were half friends after I told you all the secrets this morning. Cloud Dance said this time, a yellow light is quietly shrouded in the air, Pity Juan away. Pity Juan reaction come over, at this time, face a sink cold. But at that time, the body suddenly gravity pressure, this floating in the air body, suddenly fell to the ground. Rush I fell to the ground all over my body, and suddenly I fell in pain. You. Let's try to be down to earth and you'll like it. Cloud Dance said, also didn't wait for that Pity Juan to say what, then toward the side of the Red Ling shout Red Ling come over, restore the original shape, extend your branches, let Pity Juan help. Hung Ling smell speech, looked at the Pity Juan. Although I feel disappointed, I am still very obedient, and I have evolved a body that has been able to liberalize its size. Suddenly, a giant body appears. And at the same time, that branch immediately toward the bookshelf around, spread out countless branches, horizontal inserted in the open space. Cloud Dance at this time, also pull Pity Juan from the ground, let him lean on the branch of Hungling. Try walking. It's all your own people. Don't be shy. You won't be ashamed if you fall. Pity Juan's face is not very good, but, looking down at his own down-to-earth, the undercurrent in his eyes flickered. Don't be stunned, try to walk, or you don't know how to walk. Come on, I'll teach you. Cloud Dance said to want to come forward to help him. No. Pity Juan glanced at her angrily, but he still held the wicker in his hand and tried to step forward. See here, Cloud Dance's face smile quietly deepened a few minutes. However, she didn't waste her time. She said to Lan Yu and Bai Shuer, what are you doing? Start looking for it. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.